jinxed me.
That was fucking tremendous. That was my first Led Zeppelin album. That's the first one I ever had. That took me to a tremendous level. And I would listen to Houses of the Holy. I would listen to Dancing Days. And I was so young that I was scared of No Quarter. So I would skip over it and go to the ocean. You got to be a certain age to listen to No Quarter. You ain't ready for that.
Yeah. I found out about Led Zeppelin from this girl that lived up the street from me when I was 13. There was a girl that lived up the street that fucked everybody. She was 21, and I was 13. And she fooled around me, but I couldn't get it up. I was too young. But she played Comfortably Numb. The first time I ever kissed a chick. I kissed a 21-year-old chick when I was 13. And she's grabbing my dick, but nothing was going on. I was panicking. But that song, Comfortably Numb, will always be associated in my mind with that girl. And Black Dog. That was the first time I ever heard Black Dog. Was this chick? She turned me on to Zeppelin. Turned me on to a lot of good music, man.
That's amazing when they take and you go home and go, what the fuck was that I was listening to?
Oh, I had no idea. Because the only music I had heard when I was 13 was probably, I knew Kiss. I knew about Kiss. I was a Kiss fan already. But I didn't know about that many bands. It was hard. You had to listen to the radio. You know, you didn't, you couldn't like, I didn't have friends that like turned me on to too much music. It was like, it was hard to find out about good stuff. So when I first found out about Zeppelin, I'm like, how the fuck did I not know about this?
So I got in the car this morning at 8 in the morning, and Philadelphia Freedom was on by Elton John. And I started singing it. And my wife is looking at me like, when the fuck did you learn these lyrics? I go, dog, this is 6th grade on Fridays. Mr. Levito will let me go up in front of the class at 1 o'clock, and I would sing Philadelphia Freedom. I'd lip sync it. And My Eyes Adored You by Frankie Valli and shit. I used to take motherfuckers deep with fucking Elton John. People don't remember Elton John. Every once in a while I get caught up in Elton John. I can't even go in the house.
Country Comfort?
A Funeral for a Friend. Last week something was on. Daniel, my friend. And there's 2 gay guys live across the street from me. But they're the fucking weirdest gay guys because they don't go out. They don't do nothing. They sit in that fucking house all day. I want to kick that door down and go, you know, did anybody tell you you're fucking gay? Get out there. Dick is free. Sperm is free. You go to Santa Monica. You know what? Dick is free. Free. These 2 gay guys stay in the fucking... And they're not gay together.
What?
They're not together.
They're roommates?
They're roommates. And they never fucking go out. Every once in a while in the daytime, they take a cruise. They're in front of the house feeding cats. So the other day I got out of the car, I was listening to Elton John. And I was blasting. I was stoned. You know, and the weed and the music just connect as one. And I pulled up to the house, and they were, like, out there. And I opened up the window, and I go, nobody in this country remembers when Elton John used to sling dick like a motherfucker. And they just looked at me, looked at each other, we're in the house. Nobody in this country. And nobody gave a fuck he was gay. Like, you had an idea him and Bernie Taupin were gay, but he could be, but who gives a fuck, dog? Street fighting, man, whatever. All that shit was just brilliant, you know. Anybody, that song, it's a little bit sunny or funny, you know, that shit, everybody knows that fucking jam. You broke up to that, you gave a girl your first hickey, you fingered somebody to that, there's always something.
Rocket Man,
too. What's the one in what's the movie about the young kid who was the writer? And they all got on the Tiny Dancer. What is it? And they all were singing it on the fucking bus, and you were feeling it. You're like, God damn, how good of a fucking song is that? When a band, and that's supposed to be who? That's supposed to be theoretically and almost famous. Wasn't that supposed to be Led Zeppelin or somebody big time that they were writing about when they were on the bus?
I thought it was Morrison. Wasn't it supposed to be
Morrison? No.
I'm not sure.
I don't think it was the Doors. Although speaking last Friday night, fucking the Doors live at the Hollywood Bowl was on. If you haven't seen that, smoke a number, get some fucking juju juice, whatever the fuck you
Speaking of smoking a number, these e-cigars, I never even heard of an e-cigar before. These are fucking good.
Yeah.
It tastes like a cigar. It's amazing.
And they have different levels of nicotine. Because I'm not a smoker, so I got 0 just to try it out. It tastes the same.
I can't.
It's great.
I gotta put this is great. I love this. You go to a
tastes
casino,
like a real cigar.
I go to Vegas. I don't feel like an asshole no more now. You go to a casino, you don't feel like an asshole no more. It's discreet. You know, whatever. At least it saves you. You know, you don't want to. You know why I hate getting cigars? Because I spend $30 on a cigar and I smoke half of it. You know what am I gonna do? Put it in a baggie in my pocket like a Puerto Rican and walk around with it?
They always taste like shit.
Yeah, no, I can't. So when do you have time to actually sit there for 4 fucking hours
You get a little one. You get a smaller one.
Yeah.
Well, on the East Coast, they have cigar lounges or like where they have like nice leather furniture and you can get a drink. That's really fun.
They have one right next to the Improv.
Do they really?
Yeah, they have a few
They've
out
had
here.
that one. They've had that. Yes.
I haven't seen any out here.
Kevin James and I used to go to Fat Stogies in Studio City, across the street from Jerry's Deli.
Oh, I didn't know they had them. They were so much fun.
God damn it.
What?
God damn it.
What
had
happened?
something for you. I didn't print it up. My friend sent me a poster, a picture that's really a poster. He's going to give it to me in New York, of the #1 pool hall in Cuba in 1951, like when it was booming. Dog, 200 motherfuckers in there.
Wow.
Dressed impeccably. Like no jeans, like suits on, women with minks on, little things with champagne on buckets, and these motherfuckers are shooting pool, and you can see like the daylight come over the beach and shit. God damn, Cuba, 1951.
Isn't it crazy how Cuba used to be like the playground?
This was the place. This was the place.
They all would go there. Kennedy would go there. The mob would go there. Everybody went to Cuba.
You know, actors, ambassadors. It was just
Everybody.
that place to go.
Well, how long of a plane ride would it be from Miami? Like 20 minutes? Like,
Yeah.
how long could it possibly be?
40 minutes or something.
It's not even Vegas.
90 miles, so it's from here to San Diego.
Yeah, that's like not even half the trip to Vegas.
They have to do a circle just to feel... Not,
Just to make it worth it?
you know, listen, man, I don't know if... Before 9/11, the trip to Vegas was 40 minutes. After 9/11, all of a sudden it became an hour 10, plus they doubled the price. So,
there's all those fees, like 9/11 fees.
There's times the plane in Vegas has been 50 minutes behind, and they still got me here on time. You know what I'm saying? Like from Vegas to Burbank. They know it's not that fucking...
You really think they take a circuitous route? Really?
They kill some
Why
time.
would they do that?
Because how guilty would you feel if you took somebody for a half hour from here to Vegas?
It's not a guilty
charge
thing.
them $234 fucking dollars.
The fuel costs so much money. They'd be crazy to do that.
I don't know, dog.
Yeah, they'd be crazy to do that.
think-
Fuel is the #1 problem with air travel. The reason why they have to jack the rates up all the time is jet fuel keeps getting more and more expensive.
Are you serious?
As car fuel gets more expensive, jet fuel gets more expensive.
Car fuel's not that bad right now.
It's not that bad right now. But do
$3.60
you remember when Bush was leaving office?
Yes.
Ron White started flying commercial, and that's when he got busted with weed because his fucking cunt ex-wife, I don't know her, maybe she's a nice lady, I'm just on Ron's side, but she ratted him out and said he was going to be at the airport with weed in his pocket. So the cops met him at the airport with his luggage and busted him.
They did a sting for a little bit of weed?
Yep, a sting for a little bit of weed. You can Google it. He went to fucking... I mean, I don't know if he got arrested, went to jail, but he definitely got popped at the airport. And it's because he was always flying private. Because he was doing the fucking blue-collar tour, just balling out of control.
Did you know Bill Murray got arrested for weed? I read that today because I was reading something about him and his relationship with the guy who just died. He got arrested with, like, bales of weed.
Bales?
It was a lot. I'm going to have to look it up. I read an article today about, like, the relationship, and... He wasn't paying rent, and him and his brother had like 17, something crazy, like huge amount of weed. Let me look it up.
You know, he took like a long time off of movies.
And Bill Murray's got a brother who's a priest. Like a big-time fucking priest somewhere. Like, I've heard this a couple fucking times. Bill Murray's is Irish. He's Irish. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he was arrested with 10 pounds.
What year?
Let's see. 1970.
Whoa, that's when 10 pounds was really 10 pounds.
Acting. That's before acting. That's pre-acting.
Still amazing.
Yeah, he got,
Was it? Was that before Saturday Night Live?
Yeah, Saturday Night Live was 73, 74, 75.
He only got probation. He got 5 years probation for it.
Yeah. Wow. First time offense, 10 pounds.
10 pounds, a lot of fucking weed.
I'm addicted, Your Honor. I can't stop smoking marijuana. I can't stop smoking marijuana and eating white chicks.
And you tell the stories about bringing guns back from Colorado to New York every other weekend.
You know, Bill Murray's the real deal, man. When he played the guy first, Gonzo, he played the writer first in
Where the Buffalo
Roams. He really, you know, that's why I saw him. I saw him in fucking Woody Creek Tavern. And he was sitting with the dude.
He's preparing for it?
Yeah, like at
he
this
did a
fucking
great fucking job in that movie.
Yes,
a lot of people sleep on that.
Nobody ever saw it. Nobody even knows that movie exists.
I have that movie.
You have it at home.
I'm a huge Hunter S. Thompson fan.
Yeah, that is when he answers the phone, when he's arguing with the dude or he's talking to him real mildly, and he just answers the phone. He goes, "What?"
Yeah.
I lose it every time. I know where I saw that movie the first time. where were we the other night? What were we watching the other night that people were going?
Blues Brothers.
We were in the Brea Improv watching Blues Brothers. Me, him, Matt Fultron, losing it.
The scene at the bar.
At the bar. Losing it. That when they play and they get hit with the bottles and they do Stand By Your Man, fucking Belushi was just on a different level.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know, do you say it's the drugs? I'll tell you, when you do that many drugs and you wake up the next morning, the next day you're very unconscious. The best days I had as a salesman were nights I felt my spine tingling. You know what I'm saying? Were nights that I fucking felt the electric jolt of cocaine. I would be a sports salesman, and I would wake up and go in there, and by 12 o'clock I'd made $3 grand.
Is it like a hangover, or what is it like?
It wasn't. It was a hangover, but I'm unconscious. I really don't know what I'm doing. When you think about things and you go into something and you think about it, you can't really, it's when you don't think about it. It's when you're just flowing. And I would just flow, and the guy would say, Joey,
no nerves.
What is it on Saturdays? You always do great. And I remember I used to snort so much coke then that I couldn't even get sprays to open up my nose. So I would take 2 tissues and just stick them up my nose so the drain, and I would sit there all day with 2 tissues. They would look at me and go, what's up? Nothing.
At the car dealership?
No,
sports dealership.
Oh, sports betting.
So I'd be on the phones talking, but even with cars, my best days were after a 10-hour fucking binge-a-thon,
Wow.
It's fucking amazing. Last night I was telling you guys I went to the Dodger game with my uncle. Now, this is the same uncle that we pulled guns on each other 25 years ago. This week is the 30th anniversary.
Of you guys pulling guns on each other?
We pulled guns on each other in September of '84 on Vermont Boulevard here.
Really? Down here?
Yeah, right in California. My uncle lived, my mother's brother, blood. Not like, we're brothers. No, blood. Grew up together, Cuba, the same house. Lives in Glendale. Always has. Since I used to come out here when I was a kid.
That's not mine.
I used to come out here when I was a kid. I don't know whose fucking buzzer that is.
It's not mine. I don't have one of those dings.
When I first came out here, God damn it. When I first came out here, I came out here when I was 8, 9, and 10. And we go to Dodger games, SeaWorld, Malibu. We go to his different jobs. And then when my mother died, I could have came back with him. But I was like, California, what the fuck do I know about California? I kept in touch with him. And then when I was 21, I said, fuck New York. People were looking for me. I got to get out of town. So I came out here, and I tried to give this a go, and he wasn't going for it, Joe Rogan. He was like, you got a room upstairs, you got a week to get your shit together. If you don't get it together in a week, you got to go, dog. And I was like, I thought you were my mother's brother. But he threw me out, and I couldn't take it, so I tried to rob him. I couldn't go home with nothing, so I pulled guns. He pulled guns. The cops came. The cab came. Because I was robbing him as he pulled up, and he called the cops, and the cab came. So I swore to God, I go, next time I see him, I'm going to fucking shoot you, you motherfucker. I mean, this was terrible. This was horrendous.
Didn't you call him from prison? Was it him?
Oh, I used to call him from prison and tell him that one matali hueputa. I used to tell him, I'm going to fucking call you. And he would say, you'll say, I know who this is. I'm going to come after you. And I would hang up on him. I was pissed. I was pissed about it.
And now you're going to Dodger games with him.
Yeah, man. It's the
We had him on the podcast.
We had him on the podcast. He's deep. He's 76, dog. He walks 5 miles a day. Listen to me, gentlemen. He brought 2 papata seeds to the game. They're like little apples. They're dry apples. They have the highest level of antioxidants that's known in any fucking fruit.
Dry apples?
It's not a dry apple. Do not quote me on this. It looks like an apple. He has to go to Huntington Beach to buy them. He brought walnuts, organic walnuts, and something else. For the last 50 years, he doesn't eat like a Cuban person. He eats like a fucking Gentile from Studio City. But he goes nuts, like organic milk, because whole milk makes you swell up, you inflame. I mean, he didn't stop. Every time I see him, it's a fucking ear beating. He brings his own eggs to a diner and makes them cook them. Yeah, he don't like regular eggs like you. He don't believe in eggs from the store. They are
very different.
He's got to fucking get his own eggs, or they got to eat organic grass.
I should have brought you over some eggs.
Oh, I could just imagine how delicious are real fucking eggs.
I get almost a dozen eggs a day.
And how
a
great
day?
are they?
Yeah,
How
I got
great are
24 chickens.
And how great are the
Oh,
eggs?
they're tremendous. They look different. The yolk is like a dark orange, and they taste different. They taste better. I mean, I get them fresh.
Fresh, yeah.
Like I'm eating eggs that just came out of the chicken that day.
How long? I never understood how chickens do they have to have sex? Because
No.
it's not. Is it like sex, or do they just keep laying eggs?
No, they lay eggs every day. If the hen fucks them, the eggs are live. Then the eggs become a chick. But if the rooster doesn't fuck them, then they just lay eggs. I don't have any roosters, so the hens they lay eggs. They're just duds. They lay them every day.
Oh, those are duds?
Yeah, they're duds.
Oh, wow.
They could never become a person. Never could become a chicken. I didn't know that either until I got chickens.
Yeah, I never, because I knew they did it every day, but I was like,
Well,
they
that's
can't.
why it's crazy that vegans won't eat chicken eggs. Like, they cannot become a chicken. It's impossible. And look, if you go by my house, my chickens are like my friends. Like, they come and hang out. Like, Jessica loves them. Their chickens are, the kids love them. They're little animals, man. Like, look, they're hanging around the yard.
You
Those
pet
are
them?
chickens. Oh, you can pick them up. Yeah.
You pick them up and everything? Oh, my God, they're beautiful.
Yeah, I got 24 of them.
And you have a little place for them and everything?
Oh, yeah, they have a big house. They have a chicken house. I had it built. They go wandering around my yard.
And then at night they go back in there?
They go back in on their own.
Now, no drama from the animals?
There's been, no, not for my dogs, no, but there's been coyote drama and hawk drama. The hawks see them, and the hawks are trying to get in on them. But the area where they're at, there's a lot of trees, and they go under the trees, and so the hawks have to have an area to swoop in, grab them, and then swoop back out. And they're a little too big for that. So now, but when they were little, there was one of them turned up missing. I'm pretty sure a hawk got one of them, one of the smaller ones. It was a long-ass time ago. But the coyotes go around the fence, and they look in every now and I catch them looking in. I'm going to get a fucking pistol, an air pistol. Set them up.
That's amazing.
Put a little cat food out there. Pink, pink, pink.
No, my uncle makes everybody hands down look bad. Like he
His
drove
food?
me. Yeah, it's amazing. No rice, no nothing.
Just
Like
eats real healthy.
He's been juicing for 50 years. He's like, these fucking jackoffs, they think they invented something. Me and Jack LaLanne had a talk 50 years ago. He told me about juicing.
Did he really ever talk with Jack LaLanne?
Said he bumped in.
Jack LaLanne was the guy that was doing that a long time ago. He would take like a fucking giant bowl of vegetables and juice them down.
Juice him down. So my uncle said when he came out here in 50-something, he came out here to be somebody's maintenance man. He was working in New York as a maintenance man in a building, and an actor lived in the building that was a soap opera guy. And he goes, I got a big house in L.A. Could you come out there and be a maintenance man? There's a house there in the back for you. You could live back there. My uncle's like, fuck it, I don't want to live in New York anyway. When he came out here, then the guy had some TV show. So my uncle would go down to the studio, and he said he met, that he was, like in Spanish, it's really funny. He was telling me how he was mesmerized with Jack LaLanne. This guy used to do push-ups with one fucking hand, you know. Like the Cubans, that's huge. He was a fucking savage. And he always said then that you always should eat a carrot blended or something.
Yeah.
So my uncle said, what? And the onions? I mean, I heard Jack LaLanne used to go fucking
Garlic, yeah.
garlic. It's a shame. And he was the original juicer. So he's been juicing. He juices. He only has a certain, he hasn't eaten sugar in 50 years.
The word is that Jack LaLanne would fuck everything that moves.
Female or male?
Male.
Oh.
No, female. No,
Well,
female.
you know, when I was a kid, I remember waking up, and that motherfucker had an exercise show at 9
yeah.
a.m.
Oh, yeah.
with the suit.
Oh, yeah.
He had the suit, so you never know. I don't know.
Jumpsuit?
The
Yeah.
little fucking jumpsuits.
No, he would, he was eating healthy before everybody. He was working out like deep into his 60s and 70s. He was doing stunts where like for his 60th birthday, he towed like 60 boats behind him, like swimming. He did a bunch of really crazy shit like that. Like he was in incredible fitness, incredible shape. But yeah, fucked everything. You couldn't go near him, even when he was older. Which makes sense. I mean, why would he be so motivated to have such a great body, like deep into his 50s and 60s?
Dog, if you work out that much, you know you're fucking horny as fuck.
Yeah, your testosterone's flying.
When you throw metal around and shit,
yeah.
and push-ups and pull-ups, you
Jumping
got
jacks.
dick for 3 or 4 people. You really do. You really do. When you lift weights and shit, like when I was going at kettlebell gym, like really like the fucking deadlifts and shit, I had dick for days. Like I could jerk off, give somebody a stabbing, and at 2 you have to bang one out again standing up. That's the worst. You got to bang one out standing up in your bathroom, hiding against the door and shit.
Yeah, there's something pathetic about jerking off standing up. I haven't done that in a long time.
Oh, that's a disgusting way when you have to bang one out in the shower and then you lay. I like hotels because you lay down on your back and it just comes on you like a fountain. You don't give a fuck. It's your own cum.
My married friend, since he has to do it into the toilet, like he does it on his iPhone in his bathroom because of his girlfriend.
Oh
my
yeah,
God.
he should be shot and hung.
Oh, God, that's sad.
I would never just shoot it into a toilet. You gotta play with it.
Well, see, the thing is too about like when you're away, like if you go away, like if you do like a comedy or something like that, where you go on the road, you come back home and you miss your girlfriend, you miss your wife, you're looking forward to seeing her again. But when you're with someone all the time, and you can't even jerk off because like you're at work all day, you can't jerk off at work. You get home, she's home. You're there together every night, day in, day out, the monotony and the grind, and then you're jerking off into a toilet. There's just something just defeating about it. It takes all the zest out of life. You're just hiding in the bathroom. Why are you in there for so long? What are you doing in there?
I don't like that. I like working. I like working
I have to get a Q-tip. Why is the door locked? What are you doing? You've been in there for 5 minutes. What are you doing? You're in there just concentrating. Jerking off, downward jerking. Because you don't want to miss the toilet. You don't want to shoot all over the top. You don't want to upper deck your load.
I don't think that's accurate about that. I've jerked off everywhere. I have found a way. Like there's times you're sitting there, you're like, you know what? I got 10 minutes. Right? You never whacked off when you were in the trailer for Fear Factor.
Oh, I whacked off.
Fuck yeah. You never whacked off when you were editing?
In an office? No.
Why not? You're by yourself.
You ever whack off driving?
Fuck yeah.
I've not fully, but I've like gotten horned up. But I've never. I can't imagine coming on like in the
I
car.
fucking whacked
Have you
off.
really?
Yeah, fuck yeah. You look for an old McDonald's bag, you wipe that fucking sperm on it.
I get nervous when I sneeze when I'm driving.
Throw in the back seat. That
how do you
thing
not get in an
turns green
accident?
in 3 fucking days.
I only whacked off once while driving, and I remember after I jerked off while I was driving, I was like, great, now I jerk off in the car too. I was thinking I was going to do this all the time, and for whatever reason, I only did it once. One fucking time.
I think I did it one time, and it was
when I was driving
disgusting.
limos. I just lifted up my shirt, shot one all over my stomach, put the shirt down, patted it down,
Like a
went about my
soldier,
merry way.
You see what I'm saying? Who
Coming
gives a
back from
fuck?
New Hampshire.
I was talking to somebody today who had to get fertility testing, and I'm surprised more people don't miss like the cup, like just get into it and forget about the cup. It was really weird. He was telling me they had like an Apple TV full of porn, like and mostly a lot of transvestite stuff. And he said a lot of transvestite stuff.
A lot of transvestite stuff. How would he know how much transvestite stuff they had?
He looked
He'd be
through.
Let's see what we got here.
Yeah.
Well, this one's not doing it for me.
He said there wasn't a lot of girl on girl. That's what he was surprised about. He said it was mostly regular, like big boobs or gay and transvestite.
Big boobs or gay and transvestite. Wow. I wonder what their business. Where was this? What part
In LA, I don't know where he went. But it was. I almost got tricked tonight by a transgender person. I was in Subway before because I know this edible is going to kill me. This man, I guess, came in, but I couldn't tell from behind. Had the best ass I've probably ever seen on anything. But then I heard
Jeans and a t-shirt, white t-shirt.
jeans and a jacket. I didn't see the shirt.
No, when I went to
but
get
blonde
gas.
hair.
Yeah, I saw her walking up and down.
Yeah,
She's a hooker.
she has but I heard it in her voice. I was like, oh, that's not a girl. And then she turned around. I was like, oh, that's really not a girl. But I can't I got tricked. Like, have you ever been tricked?
No, you get tricked if you sucked his dick. That's how you got tricked. You didn't get tricked.
But
you just saw her and said, let me get my shit together before she hypnotizes me. You know, if you ever want to see the really transvestites, you have to get up very early in the morning and go home late at night. And on Santa Monica and Vine, it's like fucking The Walking Dead of transvestites. Between maybe 4:30 and like 8 in the morning.
Santa Monica and Vine. That's a creepy area.
Santa Monica Vine, Santa Monica La Brea, Santa Monica Highland.
Well, that whole area of Santa Monica is sort of deserted. It's very strange.
Not at 4 in the fucking morning it is. Not like at 6 in the morning. Like I used to go down there to a 9 o'clock Weight Watchers meeting on Sunday, and I'd still see them out from the night before.
They have Weight Watchers meetings?
Yeah, you have to go to meetings.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you have to go to meetings.
So it's like an Alcoholics Anonymous thing.
Yeah,
almost.
you have to go. They weigh you. And they talk about knowledge for an hour, how to avoid this, how to avoid that, how to, when you go on vacation, eat the toast with the baked potato, little shit like that,
Eat toast with baked potato?
No, I'm just saying, what the fuck, it's like 35 minutes. You go in, you pay your dues, and you get the fuck out of there.
Huh.
Some people weigh in, some people don't weigh in. Some people go down there just to not lose weight at all. They'll go there every fucking week just to get out of the house. It really is an amazing thing, But they have them like at 9, 11.
Isn't that what happens with a lot of people when they get involved with almost anything? Like there's a lot of things that people do where they're just trying to get out of the house, whether it's going bowling or... I remember I went to a Renaissance fair once, and there was, everyone in the Renaissance fair, pretty much everyone talks like they're from another time.
Right.
They all, milady... dost thou want, they speak that way. But this one lady wouldn't do it. She was breaking character. Like, she was just there to hang out. And she was complaining about her husband. Her husband won't take his medicine. I went to the pharmacy. I got him all this medicine. And this other chick was pissed off that she wouldn't, go along with it. She goes, sorry, I don't understand. What dost thou mean about medication and prescriptions? What are thy speaking about? Like, she was speaking, she was like trying to, and the other bitch was like mad at her. Like, come on, cut the shit. I'm trying to complain here. She was just trying to complain. She wasn't into being in a Renaissance fair. She just wanted to get the fuck out of the house and bitch and whine. And so she put on some crazy European outfit and went out to this Renaissance fair and was just trying to treat it like it was just a normal coffee shop. Just hang out and whine about things.
My dad does it in Florida. He retired, he moved down there, he was bored. He does this, like, community patrol thing in a police car, like the sheriff's office has it. He does it, like, 4 hours a week. They give him a real uniform. He goes around and he had to learn the codes for things.
He's going to shoot a black dude.
No, they don't give him a gun.
What's his name? Zimmerman. That's where he started out.
We had this conversation on your podcast about, I always believe that if you want to do something, you just keep showing up, and I thought about it after, like, when I lived in Seattle. Seattle was my real open mic era, So on Mondays and Tuesdays, let's say 20 people were there. That's what the list was. 20 people. Everybody had 6 minutes, 7 minutes. The last two guys probably had 10 minutes. I say out of those 20 people, 7 of them were just there to fill a void. Mm-hmm. But do you goof on them? No. That's what works for them. You know, they have a local job. They just want to do comedy as a hobby, But that happens in everything.
Yeah.
I went to today. I said, "Fuck it." I was sitting there. I had nothing going on. I said, "You know what? I'm going to try these knee pads because when I tried the knee pad first after the surgery, it didn't fit. So I put this knee pad on. I go, it fits. I put my gi pants on. Just go to jiu-jitsu and just do hip escapes. That's it. Just make the legs go that way. Make them go this way. Once I'm get tired, I'll get the fuck out of there." Dog, I was drenched. And there's a big difference between an elliptical sweat and jiu-jitsu sweat. Jiu-jitsu sweat, when you got it on you. When it's on your neck and shit, and it's coming out of your head paws and shit. It's tremendous.
You're doing no gi, right?
No, I do gi, Joe.
When you do a gi, and you're working out when you take that gi, and you just fucking wring it out.
Oh, Jesus.
When you get that big, heavy, thick canvas gi, and it's just soaked.
Oh, my God. Today I went to pick it up just now to see if I could throw it in the hamper yet.
The
neck was still wet.
Oh,
the neck was still wet. I was like, it's 6 fucking hours later. But it's funny, I went down there today, and Tuesdays and Thursdays is a very small class compared to their night classes. But there's one guy that walks into class dressed with his gi already. No warm-up. Never been there at 12:30. Goes, sits down, his feet are always dirty. Sits down like kung fu. Doesn't do any of the warm-up. Sits there, watches the technique, does it 5 times on each side, gets up, bows, and walks off.
Huh.
And that's all he does.
He just wants to do a couple drills.
That's it. And he works as a security
and
guy.
Where are you training at? What place?
Right down the block. It's right around the corner. It's called VMAC there, right around the corner. I'll bounce. Like, I'll go to VMAC, but VMAC doesn't have all the classes. And I can't do Wednesday nights. I can't do Monday nights. I'm doing this. So Monday days, I'll go to Higgins. I'll shoot down to Beverly Hills, and I'll go to Higgins. I went there for the whole month of August and a little bit of July. So now when this gets better, I'll go to Higgins at 11. It's 11 to 12:15, real quick.
And where's Higgins at?
Beverly Hills, behind the tuxedo shop.
Higgins used to have a place in, like, Redondo, right?
I'm not sure.
No. That was the other brother. That was Hodger.
Who's got the place by the ice house that we always John.
John, yeah, I think. Carlos is in Dallas, and Jean-Jacques is in Tarzana. And Jean-Jacques is apparently opening up a place in Austin, too, with Todd White.
Yes. Somebody's opening up something in
Yeah,
Austin.
because Todd White he's one of Jean-Jacques' black belts. He's the artist. He used to work for Nickelodeon, and now he does this amazing cocktail style, like 1930s and 50s, almost cartoonish, really cool stuff. And he's super popular. Like, you can't churn out art enough. Like, everybody wants to buy Todd White stuff.
Right, yeah.
I went to a friend's house, and she had a Todd White thing on the wall, like, years ago. I was like, this is crazy. This is my friend Todd's. Like, this is nuts.
He's like, making bank right now, is he not? Like, just kill him. Like his average pick, because somebody was telling me the whole thing. It's ridiculous.
Balling. Out of control.
How art is. It's amazing.
Well, that's that art thing is a weird world. Like, once you become like a guy that everybody wants to have a piece, I want an original Joe Diaz. And, it becomes like a thing that these art people... I was talking to a friend who explained it to me, and he was saying that they manufacture it. What they'll do is they'll get an artist, and then they take a bunch of people that they already have connections with, like really big people that buy $50,000 paintings, like nutty.
And they buy them as
Beverly
investments or because they like art?
They buy them as investments. They buy them because it's a hobby. It's a thing for them. It's like, those crazy wine people? There's people that are like that with art. They're crazy art people. They just buy art. And the gallery will contact them and say, listen, there's a guy who's coming up. He is phenomenal. And I want to gift you a piece because you're such a loyal customer, and I'm going to gift you a $25,000 painting. Because for a guy who's buying millions of dollars worth of art, because a lot of these guys actually do buy millions of dollars worth of art from a particular gallery. Gifting a guy a $25,000 piece is just an investment. But it's not really a $25,000 piece. It's a $25,000 piece because they say it's a $25,000 piece. So you gift 4 or 5 guys, these big high roller guys, these pieces. Now they're in the art community. Well, who's that? That's an original Joe Diaz. Yeah, the gallery gave it to me. It's a $25,000 piece. The guy's incredible. Wow. Yeah, he's having there's going to be a gallery show in October. So then they put on the gallery show in October. The prices have already been established. And then you see $35,000. Nobody flinches. And they just start buying them like hotcakes. Why? Because these big shots already have the $25,000 pieces. So they create this bizarre bubble, this bizarre market. And they do it by giving these like really big high rollers expensive pieces. It's really fascinating.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Smart. I mean, they just, look, you know what it is? It's like it's a hustle. They figure out how to get in with these people. They figure out how to make it, like, I was hearing about, there's certain handbags that really rich broads are really into, these certain bags. I don't remember the name of it. But you have to have a relationship with the people that sell the bags in order to even buy a bag. Like, you can't just go in off the street. You have to have already been a client. So, like, you have to buy a bag to get a bag. So it becomes exclusive. So because it's exclusive, they're selling these bags for like $50,000. And I'm like, how the fuck is someone paying $50,000 for a purse? It's a bag. It's not a Ferrari. You can't drive it. It's not, there's no crazy engineering involved in this. It's not like a watch that some guy made by hand and he's got fucking giant goggles on. It takes 6 years to make a watch. No. It's a fucking purse. But because they've engineered this exclusivity, they've arranged it. And they work that market of people with incredible wealth. Because especially where we are, we don't even realize it. You grew up in a place where it was like blue collar, and nobody was multi-millionaire. But there's places like Brentwood or Bel Air where you might have 100 people in a mile radius that have $100 million. Like, that's not uncommon. I mean, there's insane money in certain areas where you're looking at these homes. There's a $25 million home. That's a $30 million estate. This house is going for $50 million. I mean, there's a lot of that in this area. And all they have to do is tap into those folks because they have insane disposable income. And what's expensive to you or I is not expensive to them. It's nothing. $25,000 for a painting ain't shit for them. So they figure out a way to weasel into that world. And then it becomes about that world. Then it becomes about that exclusivity. You know, this is an original Joe Diaz. Look at that on the wall. Very nice. Where'd you get it? Well, you know, the gallery. You know, they've got a show coming up. I love this use of color. And they're just trying to find ways to spend their fucking money. I mean, they might have a house in Costa Rica. They got a fucking house in Canada. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of those people in L.A. that are just stupid rich.
I heard that there's like a social network now that you have to pay like $10,000 to get into. Have you heard about that?
No. What's it called?
I'm trying to find it right now. Here we go. Social network that costs $9,000 to join.
Fucking idiots.
Let me see if I can find it.
Facebook is free, stupid.
Okay.
What are you going to get out of this social network? Are they going to blow you?
It's called Metropolitan.
Metropolitan.
It's $6,000 to join, and then an additional $3,000 that renews annually to continue access.
Oh my God! Is
you have
anybody joining?
You have to be 21. Let's see if it says. They're not sharing how many members.
Of course they're not. There's 2 people in it.
Oh my God!
You have to be a real asshole.
I can't imagine. What if a pen breaks in a $50,000 bag? What if a nail polish thing spills?
What if your dog pisses on it?
Oh my God!
Dogs
It's
piss on
amazing.
bags.
I went to the park. I go to the park every fucking day, but the other day I went to the park and I heard women talking. And they were talking about daycare prices in the area that they went shopping. And he goes, but what about that one in Van Nuys? And she goes, oh my God. I looked at the webpage and it was just, I thought I was dizzy. I was on the swing and they were on, you know, my baby was on the swing and I was on there so I could hear them talking on the swing. And they were talking about how you have to get on a list to get your kid into this fucking daycare. Like, you have to know somebody, and then they have to get you on the list. And it's exclusive in Van Nuys. And I'm going, like, how did they make it exclusive? Like, what do the kids do that's different? Is there a security guard? Do they fucking, give them a chef?
Right.
I mean, are they gluten-free meals? I mean, you know, I think I want my kid to get a little fucking dirty. I mean, but they were talking, I heard them talking about, like, percentages. Like, let's say every other daycare around is $200 a week. This place went like $1,200 a week.
$1,200 a
Like
week?
something just fucking ridiculous. Something just ridiculous in Van Nuys, you know? And it's the same thing, how they just make it exclusive. It's exclusive. You have to get on a fucking list. A list for what? So my kid could play with fucking blocks?
Maybe it's just they just have a great setup. I mean, maybe it's just
How
like
great
they
of
have
a setup could it be, Joe?
$1,200 a week sounds insane. I mean, that
it's
doesn't make
something
any
like
sense.
with comparison to what a regular daycare is. This is how much more it was.
Wow.
And they had like you have to get on. It's 6 months, and if your child's not potty trained, and I went home and I'm thinking about it. I asked my wife, and she goes, "Oh yeah, they got them all over like that. The one by the house by Marie ETC.
Yeah,
that's a Christian church that half the waiting list are Jewish people."
What?
From Orange County to put their kids in that daycare because the daycare is just that good.
What about pet hotels where they give them like TVs and beds? Have you heard about that?
Yeah,
they put like Animal Planet on all day.
Animal Planet all day.
Yeah, it's you know. And listen, man, it's whatever the fuck you pay for, whatever you believe, man. You know, it's just fucking amazing. It's $25,000 for a picture or whatever the fucking artist, and you sit there. And I've been to those things. My buddy in New York is like a great framer. His shop is in the Lower East Side, and whenever I go back east, he gives me a hug and he kisses me on both cheeks. I mean, it's not his fault. You know what I'm saying? That's what he does for a living. I've known him since we were 15 in summer school. So I play his game. I go over there. When I was broke in '84, I fucking made deliveries for him, frames and pictures and shit. And, you know, every night they go to these things. I've been with them. Where they go and they sit and they look in front of a picture and they make believe, they drink wine. These people don't give you sodas. They give you, you know, sushi. And
It's a social thing.
it's a social thing, bro.
It's a big social thing to be an art collector because it shows that you have a certain amount of taste. You know, like if you're into obscure art, that's a Jackson Pollock. Amazing. I love what he's doing here. His concept is incredible. It's just...
I didn't know there were any current artists getting that much money.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was all older people.
No, you just have to be in that circuit. You just have to be in that. I was over Bob Gersh's house. Bob Gersh is the fucking guy who owns Gersh. He's the guy that I had to get on the phone with. They were trying to get me to apologize with Mencia, him in the wig. And I'm out over his house in Aspirin. It's a long fucking time ago. And he's got this thing on his wall. And it's like a bunch of pieces of paper. Like, it looks like tissue paper glued onto other paper and like a lot of paint. And I look at it. I go, is this something his kid made? And someone goes, no, that's a blah, blah, blah. And I go, what's that? And he goes, that's worth $30,000. I go, what the fuck are you saying? I mean, it wasn't even big. I mean, it was like as big as that Longest Yard frame poster you have up there, that thing. You know, I mean, and it wasn't like an enormous piece that took fucking 50 years to make, you know. No, it's like a normal size painting with like a bunch of fucking tissue glued to a thing and some scribble. It was abstract modern art, you know, that's what they call it, abstract art. Dog shit. Nonsense. Unless it was your kid. You know, if your kid made it, it would be cute. It made sense to me. I thought it was his kid. It's like, what the fuck is this? This is $30,000?
It's like when they throw the fucking, like the counterfeit into Live and Die in L.A., he would throw the artist.
Yeah.
And he would light them on fire. Right?
Yes.
Shit.
To Live and Die in L.A.
That motherfucking movie was on the other morning at 6 in the morning. I put on KTLA News, and I go, let me see what else is on. I fucking that's what I remember. I put that part on. It starts with him burning a picture. He burnt the fucking pictures in the beginning and at the end. You know, there's those fucking guys that do the art and they burn the picture because it just meant my closure. And you're sitting there going, you got to get your shit together, guy. It's fucking all over for you, you know. It's
the art world is filled with a lot of pretentiousness. Just art itself, calling yourself an artist, being an artist, wearing a scarf.
When they call themselves an artist, that's where my thing. And then they justify it by going, you know, you're an artist. And I'm sitting there going,
but there are artists.
What?
There are artists, but these really pretentious artists, they fuck up the whole concept of being an artist. You know, like, look, Quentin Tarantino is a fucking artist. Okay, that's a guy who creates badass motherfucking movies. It's an art to him. You know what I mean? Like, you know, fill in the blank. Richard Pryor was an artist. You know, he was a real artist. He created art on that stage. But some fuckheads, they say, you know, I'm an artist, and you just go, ugh, blah, and you just want to throw up on them. Blah. It ruins the word. It ruins the term.
You know, we artists are.
Yeah.
We're very finicky. What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm an artist. I can't be tied down. I'm a free spirit.
You don't consider yourself an artist, Joey?
Oh, yeah. Every morning when I wake up, I'm going to go see artists in Soho.
Well, you are an artist,
and
but you're a comic, and the comic supersedes everything else. Being a comic is, you know, it's a different, I mean, it is without a doubt an art form, but being a comic is the most important aspect of the art form, and that eliminates any possible pretension. You can't be pretentious to be a fucking comic. You're a fucking joke slinger, you know. That's what we do. You know,
listen. I could never. I got invited to this wedding. I think I told you I got invited to this wedding. Usually I won't fucking go to a wedding, but it was in town, and I don't go, and it'd be a nice date night for the wife. And we get to the wedding, and the people are like, "Oh my God, we're so happy you made it. We put you in the celebrity table." And I'm like, I'm not sitting.
What?
And I go, I'm not sitting on no celebrity table. And I walked all the way to the back, and I sat there. You know me, dog.
Celebrity.
Who else was at the celebrity table?
Fucking Gwen Stefani and her fucking husband, and the black dude from Rocky.
Apollo Creed,
and
Carl Weathers,
and you know, just a bunch of other people,
black
like
dude
mid-level.
from Rocky.
Yeah, the black dude from
mid-level
Rocky.
celebrities.
Yeah, like just, you know.
Gwen Stefani is pretty big.
Yeah, this is before she got pregnant. Like this is about 2 years ago, maybe.
She was huge.
Was she huge?
Yeah,
Black Eyed Peas, right?
No.
That's Fergie.
No doubt.
That's Fergie. Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
No doubt. But no, it was just really weird that word right there. No. I sat in the back. I'm no fucking celebrity, dog. No. And it's this, you know, man, every time I hear shit like that, like somebody comes at you, like today I was washing the car and somebody came in and said something about, oh, I saw you on this or something. And I want to say, I wish you would have saw me when I robbed that fucking... I really do, Joe Rogan. I go, I wish you would have saw me when I robbed the fucking the change thing for blind kids from a Carvel one day because I was short $4 for a fucking 20 sack of weed. You know what I'm saying? Like I went into a Carvel because I knew they always had like fives and shit. So I bought like the baseball cup with the ice cream in it to give you like the Kansas City Royals. You get pissed off. And I stole the fucking can with the goods. You know, and that's what I think about whenever somebody says, well, you know, that role you had in the movie, and I feel like saying, God, do you even have a fucking idea? Like, what do you get? You know,
but why is it bad that they like you for a role in a movie? Like, what is it that you want to, like, redefine yourself?
No, it's nothing about redefining myself. It's just about, you know, we were talking about my uncle taking me to this game. I tried to rob him 25 years ago at gunpoint and whatever. We don't talk about that. Like, Ari wanted me to tell the story on the Storytellers thing. And I said, Ari, if you don't know my uncle, he don't talk about it. Like, I apologized to him on the podcast, and he wouldn't even, he don't go there, bro. He's never told me he loved me. I tell him all the time, I love you, Theo. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. My uncle does not fuck around. He told me right out yesterday. He goes, because I thought I couldn't go to the game. And when I went, he goes, you called my daughter and told her to take me to the game. That wasn't going to fucking work. He goes, the only person I wanted to go to the game with was you. Not even my sons. I like going to the game with you. Because I take him once a year. He's 76. He's my mother's brother, you know. But yesterday on the way back, he goes, I wish your mother would grow up to see what you became. She goes, at the funeral, you were a lost kid. But when you came here, every time I looked at your eyes, I thought of Charles Manson. He goes, that's exactly what he said to me.
Charles Manson?
He goes, I thought about Charles Manson. He goes, you were a killer. He goes, you were either going to kill somebody. He was telling me, bro. That's what he, you know, he called me out. Nobody had ever called me out till I was 21 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
After my mother died, he might be so sensitive. Don't say nothing to him. He might snap.
Right.
My uncle said, I don't give a fuck if your mother died. That was 5 years ago. Put it behind you. It's over. This ain't a free world, bitch. I ain't giving you a fucking dime. But when he said that to me last night, that, you know, it really hit home. He goes, you had killer's eyes. You were going to kill somebody. You were going to kill me that fucking night. You would have killed me. He goes, you would have killed me for $500 fucking dollars that night.
When we became friends, you were definitely a different guy in the late 90s when we first met.
Yeah.
But you reminded me of everybody that I knew from the pool hall. Like, I love being around you because you were like, what I hated most when I first came to L.A. was that when I was in New York and when I was in Boston, I was surrounded by, you know, East Coast people that were either comics or they were martial artists or they were pool players. It was like there was a grit to them. There was a fun. There was I could talk to them. You know, there was real conversations to be had. And then coming out here, everybody was like preparing for, like, we were downstairs and all those people with their scripts, they're preparing and they're sitting there and I'm seeing them going over their lines, going over their thing. I'm like, this is hell. This is hell. Like this preparing for a role and being in the whole Hollywood scene, like trying to get people to like you and hire you for things. It's just this weird world. It's a weird world. And here was this guy hanging out at the Comedy Store that was a total hustler. I mean, you were a total hustler, you know? And we became friends, like, immediately. Like, we became friends, like, right away. I remember bringing you around the fucking news radio set, and they're like, who is this guy? There's this fucking menacing guy in a leather jacket that keeps eating all the shrimp. And, you know, for me, it was...
Even the Comedy Store that we loved was very goofy.
Oh, it was goofy as fuck
time.
Back then.
Lee saw it a couple of weeks ago. I've been taking Lee with me, and I go, Lee, you want to come down? You know, Lee's going to go home after the podcast. I'm going to come to the store. And it was great the first 3 or 4 times that he sat there when, you know, I got a tag for you, you know.
Oh, that was the worst. It was the worst tag I've ever
I
heard.
saw Tony. I had to call him and apologize the next day. Tony Hinchcliffe. When he was with you in Sacramento or something, I had to call him and apologize.
Why?
Because I had to get the fuck out of there. And Tony came up to me. I'm like, Tony, I love you. I'll see you. And I felt.
Well, who was telling you? Someone was telling you they had a tag for you?
Well, one night with Lee,
Yeah.
me and Lee were getting ready to leave, and like, hold on. They're like, listen, man, I heard that joke, and we got to give you this tag. You should say. And me and Lee looked at each other.
Who's saying this to you?
I don't even know. And Lee's like, that was fucking weird. And then the next night we went down again, and that's when the guys were saying, we have this idea for a TV show.
Oh.
oh my God. And you're like, I just get on stage. You walk into your car. You're not even thinking about a TV show.
Yeah.
You're thinking about how you should have said the instead of cat. Just dumb shit.
Of course.
And then, can we have a word? And he was right there. We had this idea for you for a TV show. Not even how are you?
Right.
What have you been up to? And he looked at me, and we were high as fuck, which really kills you when you're at the comedy store and somebody's trying to sell you something. And then Tony Hinchcliffe came, and I saw Tony, and I'm like, I can't even, I got to get out of here. Like, my head was about to blow up. The highness, the set, the people trying to sell me a TV show.
And the people that are trying to sell you things at the comedy store, most likely, they never sold shit before. They just have an idea, and they think they're going to come to you, and that's how they're going to do a TV show.
Right, and it was just the idea. We looked at each other like, oh, they fuck. I mean, it was just, so I understand that. Like, at the comedy store, there's always that one person that you find warmth in. And I found it with you because everybody at that time was looking to get on a show to quit comedy. There was a big of that. People would get on a TV show, and that was it.
Yeah.
And it happened like 4 or 5 times. And here's this guy that tapes a great show, and after the 10-hour, 12-hour shoot, still comes and does his $15 set in the original room at 12 o'clock. I couldn't figure it out. Most people would just go home and go, fuck stand-up. That's below me. Fuck stand-up. I'm going to write a joke, And it's really weird, the people that have stuck it up and will always be stand-ups. Like, I always give those guys respect. Don't come back to it after the show got canceled and do stand-up.
Yeah.
While your show is on, you tell your agents, hey, those weeks that you don't have me up at Warner Brothers, I want to be out the whole fucking summer. I want to do this. Oh, no, well, the show doesn't want you to curse on stage or say any fag jokes on stage. No shit.
That's what they did to Tim Allen.
No shit.
Bob Saget, too.
Yeah, no shit. So you have to, and here I'm watching this guy that's going against everybody else. He's going against what everybody else believes. Everybody wants to, you used to call it something, means to the end, an end to the means.
Means to an end.
A means to an end. That's it. In my life, that's not how I felt. To me, if I got on a show, that just helps me. That'll help me get up there, and it gets easier. Now, when I go to a club in Iowa, my dream was to get in a car and pull a Mitch Hedberg and go to all these clubs. Just drive across country one time. Be on a TV show, do the 26 episodes. But once that shit's over with, get in your car and go, bon voyage, I'm out of here. And just go across the country, and you see a funny bone, jump in there. You see a comedy catch, jump in there.
Yeah.
You see a comedy saloon, jump in there. You see a pizza place with an open mic and you're in Minneapolis, fuck it, jump in there. You do that for 6 or 7 weeks as a stand-up comic. And people go, well, I just thought you were on TV. I didn't know you were this fucking funny, or this is what I do. I didn't give a fuck. I didn't. When I was growing up and I was watching Charles Bronson, I loved Charles Bronson. I loved when he killed somebody. I loved all that shit with the Cheer Me Fooney, with the Fly, but I never thought I was going to do that. I thought that I would always be an extra if they ever used me. I thought that they were going to come to the Comedy Store and say, hey, you want to be in my movie? I've watched Hollywood Nights. You ever see Hollywood Nights with Tony Danza and Michelle Pfeiffer? You see who all the people around him are? Comics from the Comedy Store. Arliss, T.K. Carter is the black guy that's doing the fraternity run. The dude who had the show on Married Men, Mike Binder. He's the fucking the kid who has to
Mind of a Married Man.
Mind of a Married Man. He's the motherfucker. Hollywood Nights is a famous place is closing down on Hollywood Boulevard. But these Hollywood Nights, they have to. I didn't forget. It's just, but there's scenes where they take these black guys and they put sheets on them and they make them walk through a white net. I mean, it was just crazy. And the people pissing the punch. But if you look at all the comedy in that movie, they just went into the store and picked up a bunch of motherfuckers one night and put them in there. The same thing with Gabe Kaplan, who we grew up with. The same thing with Jimmy Walker. Suppose they cut the deal to Good Times in the back in one of the boots there. Freddie Prinze. That's where we came from. But you always remained the stand-up. That was your roots. When I came here, I got here and they said, you got to go for an audition for NYPD Blue. I didn't go to an acting. I didn't know nothing about that. I knew nothing about that, dog. I knew nothing about commercials. I thought they shot commercials in fucking Mars. I didn't know the fuck they shot commercials when I came here. Seriously, I'm not lying to you. Fucking commercials. I came in and they go, your face is great for commercial. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I know nothing. I didn't even know. I never even thought about shooting fucking commercials. I got a friend of mine.
Was Analyze That? Was that your first big movie?
Basketball.
Basketball, that's right.
Basketball. That's when I first started hanging out with you. I was trying to pop
right.
the movie and shit by mistake. I went to NYPD Blue, didn't get it. And as I was walking by a door, a lady pops up and she goes, "You here for the audition?" I guess so. She gave me a sheet of paper, I read it, and boom, I booked 3 weeks of $5,000. I never saw nothing like that in my life.
Wow.
I snorted every penny to the fucking and then I robbed the fucking roller skates. I robbed a different pair of roller skates every fucking day. All right, every day I went and I returned them at Five Guys. What is that? The five sports guys? Think I'm fucking kidding you? I would get to my room, there'd be a size 13. I'd wear them, I'd put them back in the box and clip them. The lady would come with wardrobe. Anybody see the roller skates in there? No, I put them in wardrobe. Okay.
Every day for 3 weeks?
Every day I come back again, size 13s, and they started giving me size 12. We don't know what happened to all the 13s. Me neither. What the fuck? What the fuck's going on here? Then they ran out of 12s. They went down to 11s.
You had to put an 11 on?
I was coming home with Band-Aids, but I didn't give a fuck. They're $140 a pop plus tax when I returned them. And they were same every day, the same sporting guys. Every day. How you doing? What happened? Your grandma gave you this for how'd you know? All right, what do you want, cash or check? Let me get some cash. I had to stop and get gas. By the time I quit, by the time I stopped shooting, I was down to like a size 8.5. The truck of roller skates was missing a chunk in it. I wish I was lying to you. I wish I was trying to just be funny and be cute. This is how crazy I was. You're absolutely right. I was a stone cold hustler, and I knew it. It was like,
well, you remind me a lot of my friend Johnny.
Right, you always said that.
Yeah, you remind me a lot of him. You were just you both didn't give a fuck. You just a lot of people pretend to not give a fuck. They're pretending, but then little things will come out, and you realize they're kind of putting on an act. But you would say something. You just tell me stories about things you'd just done, or I would see you, come out of the bathroom at the Comedy Store with some fucking crazy broad, and it was funny, just funny times. It was just funny. It was just you were a real. For me, you were like a real connection to what I was missing, like back in the East Coast, because the Comedy Store at that time was all these like boat acts. It was like guys that would do like cruise ships, and they would sing. They would have like songs they would sing. It was a lot of bullshit. For every Damon Wayans that would come in, every real comic that would stop by, there was a lot of like really bad comedy for a few years there. From like 94 to like, I would say like 96, 97. Those were bad times at the fucking Comedy Store, man. But something happened. It's like they come in dips and cycles. Because I remember when I first came there, I was really disappointed. I first came out there to do a pilot. Me and Jim Brewer, we did this thing in '93. It was called Hardball, and Brewer played this mascot for this team. And we were hanging out together. We were shooting this pilot, and we wound up going to the store, and we were like, "This place is dog shit." Like neither one of us, we weren't paid regulars there. We were just comics from New York. So we went and watched the show. We just hung out in the back. We're like, this is fucking terrible.
Who was going up? Do you remember anybody?
I don't want to say names, because some of them are still alive.
It went really black for a while.
One of them had a 3 in his name.
Right. But it went really black for a while.
They had
metal detectors. You believe that they had metal detectors? Tupac.
Really?
Just got into a shootout there one night with Eddie Griffin.
In the main room.
In the main room.
In the main.
Someone shot at him in the main room.
At the main room. Yeah.
Or he shot at someone. It was very blurry, but it was it Mo Better Mondays? What was it?
No, this was when there was
before
Eddie
that. Fat Tuesdays.
This was before Fat Tuesday.
Before Fat Tuesday?
Yeah, those guys from Fat Tuesday are still around. They're in St. Louis. They're good dudes, man. Those are good dudes. Yeah, it was. I didn't know. I heard it just got.
What year did Guy Torrey take it over?
Maybe 97, 96. When I got there in 97, it was already established. And the guy saw me at the Laugh Factory and made me go up, and I ate a fucking bag of fucking debt. And at the end, I twisted around. I just went black and twisted around. It was great. As I went to walk off, Richard Pryor came and sat down. And I said, listen, whatever happens tonight don't matter. When I listened to your album, it was it. The first time I heard Niggas Crazy or whatever, was it something I said? That was it, guys. That was it for me. Like, I don't know nothing. Like, I heard that and I went immediately and bought it and went home.
You said this to him?
Yeah, I told him. I said to him from the stage.
Wow.
And I walked off. He was already fucked up. He was in a wheelchair, drooling. He had 3 people around him holding his head up. But just to see him in there, and I knew I was home. I knew I was home. That's how I knew. I was like, God damn.
Did you ever see him when he did sets?
No.
Were you there for that?
No, not at all.
That was weird. He did a bunch of sets right before he died. I followed him almost every show. Almost every show he did, Mitzi threw me up after him. Because I had to figure out like strategies to get the audience to laugh because they were so depressed. Because they had seen the greatest of all time, and he was just gone. He was a shell of himself, and he could barely talk. Like they had cranked the mic up like, and he'd just be like, "I always did love pussy, and pussy sometimes love me back." Like there was no jokes. I mean, that was like a whole joke. That was the beginning, setup, punchline. He would drink. He wasn't supposed to be drinking. He was on medication. He didn't give a fuck. He'd just drink anyway. And he would go on stage, and then he would do his time, whatever it was, 20 minutes or so, and sometimes more, whatever he had the energy for. And then it would take them several minutes to carry him from the stage to the back of the room. And Marilyn's husband, Marilyn Martinez, Dave, and Chewy would help him. And they would, get one under each arm, and they would walk him through the room, and then they would put him in his wheelchair when they got to the end of the showroom, the original room. And I would go on stage, and he didn't bring you up. Jeff Scott would bring you up from the side. So Jeff Scott would bring me up from the side, and from the piano, and you go on stage while everyone's like clapping, and he's walking out, and I was nobody, some unknown fucking idiot who wasn't even that good at comedy yet. It was terrible, and I had to go on after Richard Pryor, but I had to develop lines to say to make fun of the fact you just saw the greatest comedian of all time, and now the unknown white guy. What a fucking letdown! And I used to have to I had a whole shtick that I would do about what this is a letdown like blunt, and I would like that's as if you just did that and then did this. Like I had a whole thing like making fun of myself for having to go on after Richard Pryor.
How many times did you follow him before you decided you had to do that?
Oh, I had to do it immediately. I did because I bombed the first. Well, I bombed several times going on after him, and it wasn't just that I sucked because I definitely wasn't very good, but it was also that the room was somber every time. I only really did really well like a couple of times. The other times was just survival. But I probably followed him. I think he did like 5 or 6 weeks of sets there. So I might have had to follow him 15, 20 times. I don't know. I don't know how many times it was because it was so long ago. It was late 90s. But there was a bunch of times when I used to go on right after him. I was a kid and my parents turned me on to Richard Pryor. They took me to Live at the Sunset Strip when I was a kid, man. I don't know how old I was, but I couldn't have even been 13. It was like I was like 12 or something like that, whatever I was. And I remember sitting in that movie theater, dying laughing, holding onto my stomach, looking around. At one time while the film was playing, I was looking around, and all these people were like falling forward in their chair. And I remember thinking to myself, all the funny movies that I'd ever seen, all like Blues Brothers and all that kind of shit, I'd never seen anybody laugh like this. I'd never been to a movie where someone laughed like this. And then I realized, like, stand-up comedy is incredible. I was like, this guy's just talking. He doesn't have special effects. He doesn't have any music playing while he's talking. He's just talking. And we are dying laughing. And that probably was what planted the seed of me doing stand-up. I didn't really think about doing stand-up for real until I was 21. Until I was 20, and then I waited until I got my 21st birthday because I couldn't go to a nightclub before I was 21. But being there all those years later, after I'd done stand-up for like probably like 6 or 7 years at the time, 6 years maybe. And then being in there with Richard fucking Pryor and having it go on after him over and over and over again. I'm like, this is so bizarre. It's like the weirdest sort of passing of a torch thing. Not even a passing, a rite of passage maybe or something. Like my own rite of passage. Like here I am in front of my comedy idol. Like if I had to choose like the one guy that was like the most influential to me, I mean, Richard Pryor's right up. There's probably not one guy. It's like him and Kinison, like the most influential to me. So to see him when it was over like that taught me a lot of shit.
Would you want to be up on stage if you were 75 and all?
Not like that. There's no need for it.
But
I would only want to be on stage if I was entertaining. Like, Carlin was entertaining to the fucking day his heart stopped.
How old was he when he passed? George,
look it up.
I want to say he was in his late 70s, but I might be...
No, I think maybe 69 or something, right?
I think he was older than that.
Really?
He died, he was 71.
Wow.
Just 71.
You know, I think that if you're a stand-up, I mean, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to call you up when you're 76 and go, Joe, stop going to fucking
I will
improv.
know. I think
you're
I'll
not
know.
Fucking entertaining. But you're in that house. I mean, that's what keeps you alive. That's what, it would keep guys like us alive, man.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I like to do a lot of different shit, too. I don't like having all my eggs in one basket.
No, but you know what I'm saying. If you're, you know, today, let me tell you something. I did something today that I said I got to go. I just had to go. I just wanted to just touch the mat.
Oh, jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And it's the same way with me with stand-up. When I know I'm in a bad mood and things ain't going right, this reefer ain't working, this fucking Facebook ain't working, you know, it's fucking hot out, that means I gotta get on stage. That means I got something to talk about. That means that's my therapy. And then you do 3-4 nights and you're back to fucking normal, your pH is balanced and all that shit.
The difference is you're really funny right now. And, you know, Richard Pryor was, in my opinion, one of the, if not the best ever, top 2. It's between, I give Kinison the best ever for a year. I think for 1 year, Kinison was the best ever. But I think Pryor overall is the greatest comic of all time. And then he's not there anymore, man.
Where do you
it's
put
Carlin
and Lenny Bruce?
Well, Lenny Bruce is probably the most important guy because he was the guy who went to jail for obscenity, would argue it in court. Carlin went to jail for it, too. He was also the guy who, like, he set the path. You know, he started the whole, that kind of stand-up, the kind that you and I do, the kind where you go on stage and you're just honest about shit. Like, he started that. That was all him. And, you know, Hicks and Kinison, they worshipped him. They worshipped Lenny Bruce. And the way I kind of found out about Lenny Bruce was actually Kinison had Lenny Bruce's mom.
Yeah.
Like managing him or something like that, right?
He did a benefit for her.
Yeah, she was on one of his.
Made like $100,000, and he was gassed. And when I lived in Seattle, they did the heirs of Lenny Bruce, and I guess his mother had donated a picture, and they did this. I still had that. That was one of my all-time favorite pictures. I got to feature the last weekend of the festival, you know, and just having that picture in your name when you're a feature act, you know. But, no, I always love Lenny Bruce. There's nights I find myself watching, you know, old black and white Lenny Bruce and giggling. I like his style. The material might be not what it's 30 years behind, but his style was...
It's a time capsule.
It's time, yeah.
I mean, you're looking, you're essentially going back in time. And you're watching a guy who, in that era, that was an innocent world. No, I mean, no one understood what this guy was doing.
You dig?
Yeah.
All those little things is what I really like.
So there's a guy, Dig, and he goes, you know, like...
And what killed me about this whole thing is he's Jewish.
Yeah.
That's... When I watch him, I'm like, this is a Jew telling the world to suck his dick.
Well, for people who don't know...
And he did a bunch of fucking crazy Hitler jokes and shit.
Oh, yeah.
He did some fucking brilliant shit.
Oh, yeah.
For people who know, Joe, you were talking, he got arrested for saying fuck on stage, right? Wasn't that it?
He was arrested several times for a bunch of different things that he said on stage. In the end, they kind of like took his career away. I mean, he lost all of his money fighting it in court. And, you know, even when he died, his name wasn't cleared. He was still going to court. And when he broke down at the end, there's videos of this. I bought a DVD of it once. or VHS tape at the time. It was him going over his court transcripts. He would be on stage with these pieces of paper and talking about why the judge was wrong. It was essentially like he was doing a podcast about his court transcripts, and the audience was bummed out, man. They were like, "Give us Dirty Lenny. We want to." That's what they used to call him, Dirty Lenny. We want Dirty Lenny. They wanted to hear him talk about boobies. She's got boobies, man. You like those titties? Yeah. You know, like he wanted to, like he would say things like that, and people would like, they couldn't believe he was saying it. You know, this is the 1950s or I guess it was the 50s, and he was just a complete unique thing. And it was influenced by a lot of the jazz musicians. It was influenced by heroin. It was influenced by jazz musicians. He was influenced by a lot of black guys. He was around a bunch of people that didn't give a fuck. And he took that not giving a fuck and brought it to comedy. And this desire to describe the world around him in accurate terms, instead of just telling a bunch of jokes. This desire to like make people laugh and let them see the hypocrisy in the world that they're living in. So it was him. It was Pryor, who was like the most honest about his life and his feelings and his shortcomings and the coke and the craziness and lighting himself on fire and all that shit. I mean, he was the most honest about that. And in my opinion, the funniest. He was just the best. He was just the smoothest. I mean, he just had he had jokes about him having a fucking heart attack. You mean that joke you did where he just shut the fuck up?
Like eating pork, do you?
You would think about that when you're eating that pork. I mean, he had jokes about everything. He had jokes about shooting his wife's car, about going to jail for shooting his wife's car. I mean, here's a black guy in like a racially divided world, post-1960s race riots, Martin Luther King assassination, all that jazz. And he's talking about shooting his white wife's car. Shooting her fucking car. I'm pretty sure it was his white wife.
Yeah, and
it was her.
Joey had me watch the documentary that they put out a couple years ago, and you were talking about Live at the Sunset Strip. Didn't he like bomb the night before?
The night before, yes.
And now it's like the most amazing special ever.
Yeah. Well, what is it called? Omit the Logic. Omit the Logic.
Yeah.
When he did Live at the Sunset Strip the first night, it was horrific.
Well, he probably was nervous.
Yeah, it was horrific.
Yeah.
And then he went back the next night, and fucking that's what we saw.
Well, I think whenever you're filming something, man, like I experienced this recently in Colorado when I was filming my special. I did 2 shows. The first show was kind of tense, and this chick heckled me. It was just tense. It still went well, still got a lot of laughs, but it wasn't smooth. And then the second show was like any old show.
Someone heckled you when they knew they were taping?
Oh, this fucking cunt.
Oh, no.
In the middle of a joke about people getting upset about jokes, she yells out, "Prove it!" And I just put my head down. I go, "Are you really heckling?" I didn't even,
No, you can't address
it. To her. I had to address it because it was so loud. It was so stupid. And what I should have done, and what I'll do next time I do any other filming, I should have gone on stage before the filming, before the show even started, before Tony Hinchcliffe went on stage and said, "This is very important to me. I want this to be as normal a show as possible. So I just come out and say hi first. Just please don't heckle me. We're just doing this for Comedy Central. So enjoy yourself. If you think it's funny, please laugh. Thank you very much for coming." And that would have been smart. Instead, the director did it, and he did a goofy job. Instead of saying "don't talk during the show, don't heckle," he said, "Try not to interact with Joe too much," which was like, what
you're
the
just
fuck
giving
does
a
that
green
even mean?
fucking light. Yeah.
Well, it was my friend couldn't direct it. You know, Anthony, who does all of them.
Right.
He had to do a UFC. He works for the UFC, and he's directed every one of my specials. And he couldn't do it, so we had to bring in this other guy. And it's just he had never done that before, where he went on stage. He said the right thing the second show, so there was a lot of fuck ups. The audience was too bright. We had to figure out to turn the lights down and make it like a regular comedy club. But when you're filming something, it's real hard to do, like, to nail it in like ready go. Like Hicks. If you watch Hicks' special from London, Revelations, when he comes out and there's the Jimi Hendrix music and the fire and the hat, he's very stiff. He's very stiff through the whole set. And me, personally, as a fan of his, haven't seen him, it's one of his more stiff performances. And it's because he's got one shot at this for an HBO special. One fucking shot, and you're in London in this giant 2,000-seat arena. And, you know, it's just, it doesn't feel like a guy loose up there. I've seen him loose up there. It's a different performance. And it's the same with, I think, pretty much anybody who does a show, like Cat Williams' new show, a perfect example. His show, I saw his HBO show, but before his HBO show, I saw all that material. Someone filmed it from the audience and put it on YouTube, and it was fucking hilarious. It was really funny. The HBO special was still funny, but it was very stiff, especially in the beginning. You could see that he was aware he was being filmed. He gave a fuck. You know, and a guy whose act is all about not giving a fuck. He gave a fuck because the ready, go. Shit, this is my one shot to do this right. It's like, that's a lot of weird, unusual pressure. It's not like a fight where guys are always used to being under intense pressure. No, all of a sudden this show has this extra weight to it because it's being filmed. And this is going to be it. Ready? You got one show. Go. You know, these 5,000 people. Dude, you ain't selling 5,000 people twice. So if you want to do it big, you got one fucking show. You know, you want to come out. The lion can only do one show. The lion's going to dance in the cage behind you, but for one show. The second show, the lion might break the cage. He might get so fucking mad, he might kill everybody in this crowd. So we got the lion, Cat, but we got one shot at this. So let's keep it together, everybody. Let's huddle.
Well, isn't Bill Maher doing a live special?
Yes, he's doing a live special right after he does a live Tough Crowd. Not Tough Crowd. What the fuck is this name? What's his show called?
I don't know. Let me look.
Real Time.
Yeah.
So he's doing Real Time, and then he goes right from Real Time. But it's kind, he's kind of doing it as a gimmick. But he's so confident though, and he does so many live performances on his show, and he knows his audience. You know what I mean? Like, they know who he is and what he does. He's very calm. He could pull it off.
Yeah, and
he
he's
wouldn't
good
pull it
around
off.
them. Yeah, he's good around them.
He wouldn't pull it off. I mean, he wouldn't even attempt to pull it off unless he thought he could. Somebody else has done that too, though. Somebody else did a live one.
Chris Rock did
a
live the
one?
first time or something. That
Did
one time he did, I think. Oh, George Lopez.
Lopez.
I'm sorry. When he came out,
yes.
I sold 18,000 of depression. What Mexican could do this?
Yeah. I sold this motherfucker out. Like, he was like the first 5 minutes of his act about selling the arena out. Like, during the down oppression.
18,000 Mexicans.
Down economy. I sold this motherfucker out. That was when he was at his peak.
For me, Joe Rogan, that was it something I said. And it was funny because I was at a kid's house where his brother was a junkie. That's how I discovered Richard Pryor. This kid was nodding on himself. And we went up and we had the Beatles on, the White Album.
Whoa.
And he came in and goes, "What the fuck you motherfuckers listening to? Take that shit off, listen to this." And we thought we were going to hear rock music. And it's this black guy talking. I had never experienced that. I had seen it on TV, David Brenner and, people like that. But I hadn't, the Riddler was a comedian. Frank Gorshin.
Yeah.
Frank Gorshin.
He's an impressionist.
Something in the 60s and the 50s or something. And, I'd seen those guys, but I had never heard those words. I'd never heard somebody say nigger and fuck and suck and, hey, nigga, is that you with the cape? Why are you looking in people's windows? Yeah. That was mind-boggling. Like that, I went home and bought it, and I have to put on like Led Zeppelin. In those days, you had a record player, so you could put a record on and then put the records you wanted on top of that, like a CD. What do you call them? Random. Mm-hmm. So you could, when that album finished, this one would drop.
Oh,
and then the needle would go automatically in your album, and it would start all over again. So what you did was you invited your friends over, you smoked a little dope in the yard, and then you put Richard Pryor on.
That's right, you loaded up a bunch of albums on top of each other.
And if your mom came in, you had to drop fast. You had to drop fast because she was going to hear a fuck. He said fuck every 2 minutes. There was going to be a fuck in there. So you had to pull the album. In fact, Frank Canella told the story when he called, the guy from Sci-Fi.
Yeah.
He said, remember, my mother was mad at you because she thought we were in the room listening to music. You brought the album to my house. He tells the story in the 6th grade. I go, you guys are listening to the Beatles Help? Get that shit off. Listen to this. And their heads almost exploded. And after that, I was always intrigued with it. I never went to see it live till 1987, till a friend took me. And I was like impressed. But then I went the second time, and the dude had not written a joke in a year. Same dude from Boston.
Remember his name?
Stephen Wright.
Stephen Wright.
Never wrote a joke in about 1 year. And I remember leaving there. I was into drugs. Comedy was not even on my radar. And going, you know what? Fuck that dude. In a year, he didn't write a joke. Like, I didn't know nothing about comedy.
Well,
nothing.
he had a tough act to write for.
So I was pissed. And that was always in the back of my mind. And that's the beginning. Once you say to yourself, I could do that, you know what I'm saying? And you give it a try, and you either fail and get hooked, or you get your fucking lights kicked out, or whatever the fuck whatever venture you're gonna try, you know. And I never thought, never. And here's the weird thing, if you really think about it, yeah, I got up on stage when I got locked up, but right before I got locked up, I left Hollister, Lincoln Mercury in Boulder, Hollister, Chrysler, Plymouth, Jeep, because their pay plan sucked and they took away my demo. They didn't want to do demos no more. In fact, listen, watch this. The kid I kidnapped called me tonight to say hello. He left me a message and shit right there. Look at the Kent Vella, top message and shit. The kid I kidnapped tonight to say hello. See what happens when you apologize?
That's hilarious.
People call you. But before I kidnapped this dude, I went to that Subaru dealership. Before I kidnapped the dude, I went to the Subaru dealership. And while I was there, you know, there was this dude that was a white dude, like a Western white dude, like with cowboy boots on. He put a suit on. He kind of looked like Charles Bronson. Didn't say much. I think him and I got into a beef one time over a car deal, and we had to split it. And he was like, he said something to me, you're lucky you split that deal. And I was like, nothing was going to happen, dog. And that was it. Well, about a week later, one day, he took me outside alone. And he was like, dog, I've been watching you. You're wasting your life. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, for 16 years, before my wife died, do you know what I did? I don't know. He goes, I was in charge of entertainment at Caesar's Palace. He goes, I came back to raise my kids. I'm not a fucking car salesman. I just needed something to do at night. And he goes, I've seen a lot of fucking comedians, man. You should give it a shot. He goes, you want me to make some calls for you to get you on stage? It's like, no, I got blow to do. Fucking stage. The fuck out of here with your stupid fucking idea. That's and he was a white guy. Guys, he was a white cowboy dude. And he was like, you're wasting your life selling cars. You should at least give it a try. And I was like, okay. And then when I got locked up, it was just something I was doing without knowing I was doing. You know, I was doing something without knowing I was doing. I would just talk shit in the kitchen. There'd be 8 black guys cooking, and I'd just start going off on them. Like, what the fuck you guys doing? And then at night, I'd get up on stage on movie night, and I'd fucking talk about, look at fucking Lee with his green shirt on. What the fuck is your problem, cocksucker? And I'd just go around the room, and the black guys would go crazy. You know, and I didn't even know what I was doing. There was when I got out of there was no Def Jam. I didn't think about that shit. I was just having fun. And they would always say to me, Cuba, when you get out of here, you got to do it, dog. You got to do it. And it was like they would say, like, when Cuba gets out of here, he's going to be a big-time comic. I'm going to be his motherfucking manager and shit. But I'll be out in like 12 years. So you got to do it on your own until that. I mean, they were hilarious, but they had my back. You know, it was like a dream for them. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Wow.
So it was, it's kind of neat when you look, you know, you walk into a room. I walked into the Comedy Store, and I saw Eddie Griffin walking out. It was a tremendous feeling. I didn't know who the fuck you were. Listen, let me tell you something, guys. A real comedian, when he's on the hunt, he should know what a television even is. A real comedian, when you were in Boston on the hunt, I never watched fucking Seinfeld. I don't fucking know what fucking there is a place you want to go. I never watched that show.
Never watched Cheers.
Never watched Cheers, not once. I don't know nothing. TV didn't exist to me. Like, didn't come back into, like, TV got out of my life in 81, and it didn't show back up till 1999 or 98, and the girl I was dating said, he's on news radio. I thought you were a fucking radio guy. I thought a news guy, like, all right, Joe Rogan here, this happened in Baghdad today. I didn't fucking know if you're a comic and you're on the make, you're on the fucking roll, like you go out 7 nights a week, you're at that 3-year mark, you should know what TV. If you come to me and say, do you watch Game of Thrones? I gotta look at you because I didn't know no TV. My first fucking 6 years in comedy, I don't know about TV. What fucking TV are you talking about? What movies are you talking about? I'm making, you know, I didn't understand that mentality. So I never really knew. First TV show I watched and I made a comeback to television was NYPD Blue. Like Jimmy Smits was dying. That's all I remember. Seinfeld was done. It was like the end of Seinfeld. People come up to you, what, Seinfeld? When am I home at 8 o'clock, you fucking dunce? You know what I'm saying? When the fuck am I home at 8 o'clock giggling, eating popcorn?
Yeah, I didn't get into TV shows until I was on one.
Never.
I never watched
about
Cheers was the show when we were younger,
Yeah.
but when I was, you're absolutely right. When I was young and I was struggling in New York, I would go out every night.
Who the fuck knows
stand-up.
TV? Nobody DVR. I go home and Netflix.
I knew some movies. I knew some like famous, but I didn't know any fucking TV shows, like especially like dramas or something like that. I didn't know any of them. Didn't know anything.
I went to maybe 2 or 3 movies. That was my escape. I would go to movies. That was always my little haven. I'd roll a joint and walk into a. My favorite was like there was a double feature on 78th Street, not the black double feature, not the black sing. There was a black movie theater where I went to see Rambo and all that shit. But down the block was a movie theater. They would do like Officer and a Gentleman and Thief of Hearts.
Thief of Hearts.
Thief of Hearts with Stephen Bauer and the dude with the red hair, robbing people. They would do like The Jerk and The Man with Two Brains for $250. You know, and I would go in there and sit there and just dream. I don't know what I dream about. I dream about being one of those guys. I don't know. I would just go to the movies. Like I would never dream of going to see Officer and the Gentleman. But after I saw that motherfucker the first time, I was like, God damn, Richard Gere, don't fuck around.
That was great. That was a
great
performance.
Film, you know. But I never dreamed these things. But walking, like I always knew, like I knew from like the 6 months of comedy, when people would say to me, "Is Mitzi Shore seeing you?" Like I knew I was a Comedy Store guy. Like once I walked in there and I saw Don Barris, I went on there on a Monday night. I came in on a trailer. I got into town at 6. I went to Acapulco for dinner. Took a shower and went right to the Comedy Store my first night here. On a Monday night, I saw Wheels Parisi telling lies. I saw Eddie Griffin with the black dude from the Shogun of Harlem, Tupac. What's the actor who played the black karate guy?
I was there. Timok.
I
was there when he was there. I was there that day.
On a Monday night.
Because I had already been there for a few years when you came along.
Yeah.
You
absolutely.
came along in 98?
Yeah, 98, 97. January of 97, I walked into the store. January 29, 1987. She made me a regular February 19, 1997.
I came out here with Brewer, I think it was 93, to film the pilot, and then we came out in 94 to shoot the show, and that's when I moved here. It was only a couple months later, because it was like wintertime, or close to it, you know? And I came to the store immediately. So the first thing I did. It was more important for me to be, like, being a paid regular, like when I became a paid regular, because when I first was on television, I was a non-paid regular. So I would do a TV show all day, and then I'd have to go on at the end of the show. I'd have to wait until Carlos Mencia would put stockings over his head. He would pull, like, pantyhose over his face. He had this whole bit about robbing people, like he put pantyhose over his face. And I remember, okay, he's pulling out the pantyhose, like, I'm going up soon. And I would go up after the show was over, after everybody and their mother went and did comedy. And then I'd have to get up and do that. But when I became a paid regular, when she finally made me a paid regular, that was more important to me than anything.
Anything, me too.
It was like TV show wasn't shit.
How did you hear about it? Because now with podcasts, the store is basically a celebrity.
It was always a celebrity.
Before the internet, how did you hear about it?
Because it was Mecca.
No, it was Mecca for a comic. Listen, when you join jiu-jitsu in New York, at a school in fucking Eagle Rock, New York, you know that your dream is to go to what's his name? Renzo Gracie or Marcelo Garcia, and then after that I'm going to go to 10th Planet. And that's the Mecca, HQ. You know, I got to make it to HQ. You know, I'd bump into people on the road, and they go to me, man, how's HQ? What are you talking about? At 10th Planet. You know, and I could see in their eyes, that's their Mecca. To a comedian, that's your Mecca. You hear about the Laugh Factory, and you inquire about the Improv, but you know. People tell you over the years, hey man, when you get to Vegas, make sure Mitzi Shore sees you when you get there.
The store was where everybody came from, but for me, it was where the two greats, Kinison and Pryor, they all ran shit at the store. So when I came to the store, like that was hallowed ground. Like I remember sitting in that room when the open mic is on. It's a different show than when the open mic's over and then the pros go up. So, like, the show will start at whatever, and it goes to, like, whatever. I forget what the numbers are. It is 7 to 9 or 6 to 8 or whatever the fuck it is. But when the real show starts, they shut all the lights off. And the lights that are in the room, that they're all, like, names of the big comics. Like Sam Kinison had a neon name, and
Tamayo,
Roseanne Barr.
Roseanne.
You know, and a couple weird ones. Like Tamayo was a weird one. It didn't make any sense. But there was a few. I mean, she kind of had a little heat on her way back in the day. You know, there was a few comics that were on that wall, and I remember like just being in that room, looking up at that wall, going, "Holy shit, that's Sam Kinison's name. This is where he used to go up. This was the fucking stage that I had seen these videos. I had seen like VHS tapes of him up on this stage."
I remember getting off stage on a Saturday night, like doing the best I had done in the first 3 months I was there, and Gary Shandling talked to me and going, if he only knew that I robbed that blind kid's change, would he fucking still be talking to me? Do you know what I'm saying? Like that's what it felt like to me when I'd see these people. Like this is just it's not a dream come true because it was never a dream. This was always so far away for a guy like me. This was all an accident. This was all Stanhope talking to me and going, you know, you got to come down. There's nothing in Seattle. That's it. You're a feature.
How long were you up there in Seattle for?
18 months. You're
did you like living up there? Or did the rain, the winter, that bum you out?
You know, at the time, I was going through hell in Boulder. So I was just happy to be out of that mentality, that war mentality.
Right.
And I didn't really pay attention to it till, you know, when you wake up in Seattle and it's the 4th week of rain. It does something to you, you know.
Right.
It doesn't do nothing to me. I'm not going to hang myself or get a shot.
But you don't feel good.
Well, you know, there's no sun, you know. For me, it didn't work. It's the summers are great. You know, the water's cold in Alki and all those beaches. You know, Bremerton, that water's fucking real. That's the Pacific, bitch. That's Penguin Pacific. You know, that's
coming down.
It's coming down from there. Yeah. And as you come down the coast, you'll see the water warms up. Mm-hmm. But not by much, okay? When you're in Alki and you go to Oregon, you know,
even
like
Santa
Coos
Monica.
Bay.
Santa Monica's fucking cold.
It's cold. Malibu's fucking cold. You know, then you go to Myrtle Beach and it's piss water in April. You know, Seaside is warm as fuck right now. Yeah. It's hotter than fuck right now. You know? But no, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the comedy. I was so entangled in the comedy. That's what the regular person doesn't understand. That, and they do. They do. Whether you do electrical work or you bodybuild or jiu-jitsu, when you first get involved with somebody, you get engulfed in it. So I went to Seattle when I was doing comedy my 4th year, and I was in. Like for the first 2, I just had a business card and told people I was a comedian. You know, I'm a comedian. I get on stage once a month. I do an open mic. But the 94, it just hit me. Like this was it. This was all I had left. There was nothing else. I was 31. I had been in prison. There was a couple jobs I could do, and this was one of them. This fit my lifestyle. I could drink. I could snort blow. I get my dick sucked. I have no commitment to nobody, no responsibility. You could have a mailbox somewhere. You could have a pager number somewhere. At that time, I just wanted to be left alone. You know, I wanted to be Charles Bronson, but just do comedy. Doing comedy. I did all the triple runs. I did those triple runs backwards, bro. $85 a night to feature. And gas comes out of it. And you drive 8 hours between each gig. 8 hours. Sometimes 14. Sometimes you got to leave right after the gig just to make radio the next day, because you'd have to do radio at 5 for the 8 o'clock show. You know, this is combat comedy. I never worked at nothing, Joe. Guys, I always did something till I found out there was work involved, and that's what a lot of people fucking do. And they become 50. I have a friend that called me 2 days ago to say hello. He's 55. He's still looking for the perfect job. He quits a job every 2 months. You know, because there's work involved. It's just not getting a job now. They have to work. People think they go to college and they get out and they sit at a desk, or whatever. You have to fucking work. This guy wants, I can't work for $60,000 a year. I need $130 to start. That's not happening no more, my friend. So everything else, I never worked at everything. When I realized after a month or 2, I would say to myself, I'm getting $10 an hour. That's $400 a week. I sell an 8-ball. I can make $400 a day. Meanwhile, I'm doing what? I'm making cement and putting it on people's trays and getting abused by the Masons to fucking make $10 an hour. And they're not teaching me nothing. They're not teaching you shit. You know what I'm saying? So comedy, like the second year of comedy, I ask questions and I put it together in my head what needed to be done. I knew there was a lot of driving involved, a lot of reefer, I slept in my car the first fucking 2 or 3 years of comedy on the road.
Isn't it also that you see other people doing it and you realize you can do it? Like that was a thing for me.
That's the way with everything.
Open micers, and I saw like people that were just chipping away at being a pro, and I'm like, there's nothing unique about him. He's just another guy. Like he's not like some incredibly talented guy that I couldn't imagine ever being. Like I think I could be like that guy. It was like it was attainable enough. You know, Richard Jenny always said that. He said really bad comedians are good because they inspire people to try it. Because they go, the worst I could do is be better than that guy.
No, you got a good point. And you just keep, and it takes years. It takes years to get your voice. Then you get your timing, and then you get into a place like the store, and you start all over again.
Yeah.
You get to the store, you start all over again. So wherever market you came from, when you were the hot dog, and that's what people can't handle.
Yeah.
That's where it goes wrong. When they come out here and they've been fucking killing it in Iowa, or wherever the fuck they're from, and they go in the comedy store and they're sandwiched in between Rogan and Nick DiPaolo, and it's post time, bitch. It's Wednesday at 10:45, and you got the 11 o'clock spot, and you're sandwiched, and you know, it's a fucking nightmare, and it's your skin, and it's your pride if you hang out or whatever. For a guy like me, I didn't give a fuck. I knew it was about percentages, and I knew that the more you got up there and you worked a little bit at it, the better you get.
Did you ever do stand up in New York? Did you ever No. You're doing New York this weekend.
This week.
You're doing Gotham. That's a great club.
Great club, but
one of the best places.
New York. I did New York in '94. What I did was I go to New York Comedy Club. I go to Stand Up New York. The dude that was sick didn't like me at comedy, whatever. Lucian didn't like me. And then there was these other little holes that I would go to. I would drive a limo, and in between driving limos, I would stop and get on stage. And I was terrible. And I knew I was terrible. But my options were I would go back and do coke and cry and look at stand-up comedy by Judy Carter and look at the comedy newspaper, that used to be Just for Laughs that came out of San Francisco. And I would read the articles. Like I still remember the best articles I read in there were about Hicks, and they had different comedy scenes all over the country. It was very interesting to read. And at the end, they had all the active comedy clubs, and it was pages. Arizona, Arkansas, whatever. What started with B, Canada, California. And you looked at all Igby's and all these clubs, and you had this dream that someday I might get good enough and I might be able to play at Igby's, And then, what's her name, did a contest at the Comedy Works. And Wendy did a contest, and the winner got $500 and a ticket to Los Angeles to perform for Mitzi Shore at the world famous comedy store. And there was this dude, Matt Woods and Matt Berry. Matt Berry sold shows. Matt Woods was his buddy. And he would work with comics on Tuesday night and take them to his apartment. And you wrote, and then you go do the open mic. I was always doing the sports betting thing. I couldn't get to his apartment. So he didn't really dig me. So the night of the contest, I came in second. But the first place guy had robbed Seinfeld. And all these comics said he robbed Seinfeld. So Joey gets the redeem. I got the $500, but I never got the plane ticket.
So he stole some Seinfeld's jokes to win the contest.
To win the contest.
Yeah, local scenes are funny, man. It's a funny thing. It's like it's one of the few performance art forms where you need an audience. If you don't have the audience, you can't do it. Like you need an audience to create it. Like they have to be there. Otherwise, if you don't get that feedback from them, it's not like you could bring out a fully developed album like a band could. A band could throw together a fully developed album and say, this is our first time performing this, and then do their pieces. But you need that audience, and you also need competition with other comics. And that's what some places just don't have. And that feeling, like when a guy like Lucian would tell you suck, like look, you really need to work on your act. That's so good. It's so important. Like I hated hearing it back then. Like I forget, like he didn't pass me the first time I performed for him. Whatever year it was, probably 1990.
He just did not pass me. He came over to me and said, "You're terrible." Like he just did not pass me. Like, and I thought about it, and I go, "Yeah, I know this." but I'll be back, bitch. Like that was, I had a mentality
but
like that.
But he had a really
he had a
high standard.
No,
he had a high standard.
Guys, I wasn't even in the realm of,
but those guys are important.
And I knew this going in.
They
but
force you to a higher standard.
Yeah, it's, listen, I loved it. I loved, it pushes you harder.
What about Lewis at Catch Rising Star? Did you ever perform for him?
Louis Ferranda? No.
He had the same thing going on, man.
Yeah, Mondays. You had to get a coin.
Yeah.
And you had to stand on line. No, I never went up there. I never did none of that shit where I was going to get abused. I didn't have the time. The stand-up, the one guy who liked me was the one comedy club, and he put me up because I brought my friends, and they'd spend money. Stand-up New York would give me spots because my friends would stand money. They'd spend, they'd get drinks. And I'd get 7 minutes here, 10 minutes here, and then I go to Yale Triple In, which is more my style. It was just a dump. And I would go there. The open mic started at 2.
Wow.
And then one night I went, and John Leguizamo was on stage, working his one-man show. And I knew I was on to something.
When he would do his one-man show, would he do, like, the whole thing, like an hour, like at a show?
I don't really know.
Or
like,
do it
one
in
night
chunks?
I walked in and saw him do 20 minutes, and they said he'll be doing here for a while, and I had to pick somebody up in Kennedy Airport.
Huh.
But that let me know that was the system, that when you were working on stuff, you went to off Broadway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that taught me right there. So now I was getting bits and pieces. Then I went to Colorado. And when I went to Colorado, the stakes there was little. Right now, today, if you come to me and say, I'm a stand-up comic, but there's no place for me to perform, I'll spit in your face. Because you have to make your own stuff.
Yeah.
And knowing what I know now takes you 2 minutes to go around. I did comedy when I was in love with comedy. When I couldn't fucking wait to get on stage and tell another bad joke. When you just can't wait to get on stage, I'd have to go to a poetry reading. Don't fucking, no motherfucker could tell me my business, bitch. Nobody. That's why I get pissed when people are like, whoa, stand up, listen, you know what? Go fuck yourself, okay? Because you're talking to a guy that went from 0 to 60 with it. Like, I had to learn along the way. Nobody guided me. Like all other stand-ups. This is what you're doing. You have to make your own. It's all getting, you think you're making progress, and somebody steps on your parade. Then you go back to the drawing board. But every time you go back to the drawing board, you get 3% better. And you get a little bit percent better. And he breaks you down. And, hey, where'd you get that joke from? It's terrible. Or, this guy heckled you. Or you're talking. When I was doing comedy in New York, I picked up a fucking horrible habit. And once you pick up a bad habit in stand-up, it's like when I was a kid and I'd rebound. I was a great rebounder. But I always put the ball on the floor. It's a bad habit. Grab the ball, tippy-toe, and go right back up with it. Once you grab the ball and bounce it, you draw the fucking people to you. Why are you doing that? It was a habit that took me years. You know what habit I picked up in New York that took me 5 years to get rid of it? Talking to the audience. That's a big New York thing. Where you from? What do you do for a living? You from Jersey? And I got into that habit. And that's a habit to eliminate writing. That's what that habit does in New York. It eliminates writing. And when you're doing the stand-ups in those rooms during the week, there's 8 people, So you pick up, and that's a habit that went with me all the way to fucking Seattle and down here to L.A. It came to the Comedy Store for a while, and I fucking had to beat it out of me. You pick up bad habits, You pick up a word that you won't stop saying, something, And it just really, it's been a great. For me, man, it saved my fucking life. So some people, a DJ saves their life. Like some people get saved by a DJ. For me, I got to tell you that the more I got into this, the less I got into criminal activities. I wish that this would overpower the cocaine early in my career, but that monkey was deep, Jack.
Well, it's also a more positive thrill. You needed thrills. That's what you needed.
I'm a thrill guy.
Yeah.
Listen, bro.
Every comic is.
I'm trying to write this book, and I wrote these chapters, and I was looking at them, and then I go, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. In 5 chapters, I haven't spoken one thing about being a fucking thief. Let's get this out of the way. Like I was a fucking thief, like a fucking klepto.
But why'd you have to have it in the first 5 chapters? Is it about your life?
Yeah. I was just thinking about how the basic of this, and I was this... It's just weird. I had a thief problem from a young age. Like I was stealing in the first grade. I was stealing teachers' editions and selling them to kids with the answers, the books with the answers, $2, $1, stupid fucking kids, whatever. They want the answers, but even as you look at it as that, but it became a habit. You couldn't, bro. People would know. I would steal your fucking. I would rob your house. It just, and then once the cocaine came, it fueled it. And once my insides broke down and stuff, it fueled that habit for a long fucking time. So it overpowered that. Like even that, I was going on the road and getting caught shoplifting, stealing a tent in Idaho one time on a triple run. You know what I'm saying? It even overpowered that. I would steal as a form of fucking like jinxing me. Like when things were going good, I would steal something. Why the fuck you steal that for?
So you think you were doing it on purpose? You were sabotaging yourself?
Oh yeah, towards the end, towards the last couple of years of stealing.
Do you think it was just an impulse thing? Like you got a thrill out of stealing something? So you were just
dog. Listen, we were talking the other day. Do you think I like shooting movies? Is that what you really think? I go to auditions to fuck motherfuckers up.
What do you mean?
When I go to an audition, it's to fuck a motherfucker up. I hate shooting a movie. I like booking the movie. I like thrills, Joe Rogan.
So you like going and
fucking them up. I like all
audition.
these actors out there, la 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 la, and they're doing breathing exercises, and they're off to the side doing all this shit. And this fat motherfucker walks in that's a felon and goes, "Watch this!" Bam! And when I'm walking out of it, I know it. I know when the room just goes silent, and I walk out, and they're still doing their breathing exercises, and they've trained at the actor's studio. And I come home and I get the call.
So you like the competition of it all? Too.
I love all that shit. That shit. When they, I like, I remember in Colorado, I'd see these guys at the lift with fucking the helmet and the thick winter jacket and the pants and the boots and the $3,000 skis. And my brother-in-laws, my ex-brother-in-laws, those two Gentiles, they'd show up with jeans on and a fucking construction shirt and smoke everybody. And they go, you know what I'm saying? I like those guys, that they're not dressed like it. Right. And then I went to eat breakfast and the guy came in by himself and riding a bike with the cleats on and the helmet on. Why all the drama? You weren't even in a race. Why all the drama? You're not even in a fucking race and you got the helmet on. Let it go already. Right. Like I never wanted, like I don't know, it was just, I loved.
Auditioning's a weird thrill.
Auditions is a weird thrill for me. I love fucking people up, but that came from burglarizing. I loved it. I loved it when I met a drug dealer and I went to his house and they thought he was cool and he put a gun out and he'd say to me, yeah, this and this. I got 2 kilos in the house. And 2 days later, I just wake up in the middle of the night and go, I'm robbing that motherfucker. Watch my heat. And let's say it was this office, I'd plant across the street and for 3 days I'd figure out how to get into this fucking office. And if he had the coke in here with all his security and all his pit bulls and all his toughness, I figured out a way how to climb through that fucking window and come in and rob his coke and leave. I loved it. And I love him walking into the bar going, somebody fucking robbed me. And me and my buddies are there sitting there going, come on. What the fuck happened? Somebody came in, broke into my window, and we're just fucking howling inside. I loved all that shit. I loved my heart beating. I loved it, dog, for so long. Then I know I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it for a lifestyle. You can't do it for a fucking lifestyle, you
Why did you figure that out? After you'd been in jail?
Yeah, after you go to jail and you talk to all those people, you know that the odds are always against you. But the problem is when people go to jail and they team up with other people, they're like-minded, they become stronger criminals. They learn more things. Now you tell me how you got caught. Lee tells me how he got caught, and I tell you how you got caught. We figured out, oh my God, so next time we do traveler's checks, you follow me?
Institutionalized.
It's an institutionalized. So that's it. It makes you become a better fucking criminal when you go in there, Once I got out of there, I saw a lot of people that didn't belong there, but I knew people in there that should have been shot. They shouldn't even warehouse them. They should just be shot because there's no such thing as rehabilitation. These people can't get out to do another fucking crime again. But then there's the guy that went out to a party, drank a beer, got in the car and killed somebody on a red light. And he goes to jail for 6 years for involuntary manslaughter. It was just a fucking bad place at the wrong time. Do you follow me? Mm-hmm. There's 2 types of criminals here. He fucked up.
Right.
This other guy is a fucking animal, So it's just, but it definitely cured me. I think the comedy definitely, the more I get involved with it, and it wasn't even the success, because the first success I ever had in comedy was becoming a regular at the Comedy Store. You're absolutely right. To me, that was the end-all, be-all. That was the shit talk.
Well, you just are a very impulsive guy, and that impulsiveness, a lot of it comes from troubled childhoods, comes from an absence of love, a void, whatever the cause of it is. You were an impulsive, sort of a troubled guy, and so I think that the thrill that you got, those wild thrills that you got from stealing or from robbing a drug dealer, you just figured out a way to replace them. But the impulsiveness is what leads to all the weird things that you wound up doing, the drug thing, like all the different things you wound up doing where you sabotage yourself. And a lot of it is just it's the inability to maintain normalcy, the inability to stay on a steady path. You're always constantly used to things failing on you, and so to alleviate the disappointment, you'll fail on yourself.
You fell on myself. I would do that for years.
Yeah.
I would say, what the fuck?
I did that too. Everybody does that. It's just something that I did a little less because of the fighting, because of the martial arts background, because you couldn't do that in fighting. The stakes were too high. It was too dangerous. You'd see too many people get kicked in the head. So when you would go in there, man, you had to go in there. The only way to really compete was you had to figure out how to just let it all go, and you got to turn into like an animal. You got to go wild. You can't have any once it starts, you can't act with fear. You have to be completely zen, and you got to be able to get wild. And so you couldn't sabotage yourself. Like, you couldn't not train. You couldn't get drunk before you would fight and be hungover when you showed up to weigh in. You couldn't do any of those things. Those were too scary. So that saved me in a lot of ways from being the type of impulsiveness that I had that led me to be a stand-up comedian would have manifested itself in drugs or crime or something like that. It would have. Definitely would have. Because I didn't fit in, and I always felt like a loser. So I would have done something disastrous. And I never had any success at anything in life, so I always assumed that I was never going to have any success. So if I ever started having any success, I'd immediately sabotage it. Immediately. I know I would. But martial arts, I couldn't do that. And I also couldn't do it because my instructor, because I didn't grow up with my father, my instructor took the place of my father as like a high model, a high role model of a man, martial arts champion who was like well respected throughout the country. He took the place, like this authoritarian place, and my life completely changed. I became completely like rigid and disciplined. So because of that, like carrying that over allowed me to not sabotage my comedy career too much. But everybody does it. Everybody just has moments where just for whatever reason you do the wrong thing or you say the wrong thing or think the wrong thing. And a lot of times you don't even realize why you're doing it until you get older. Yeah, for sure.
If you watch old Mythology, when they gave him the shot at the Hollywood Bowl for the gay benefit, and he went up there and fucking started going on. Like, where the fuck were you motherfuckers when I needed you? Blah, blah, blah. And they went to his house the next day and said, what the fuck happened, Richard?
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you? How can you do that? I mean, and comics, our minds work fucking crazy. Our minds, it
you have to figure out how to get out of your own way.
Yeah, it scares me sometimes. It fucking scares me, man.
Yeah. For you, extra, because for the longest time when I knew you, you had the drug problem. And that was one of the things that you were very close to my friend Johnny. Very similar. Because Johnny was another guy who was a brilliant guy, who was a street guy, who was a pool hustler. I mean, when I met him, he was homeless. He was sleeping in pool halls. He would go to Chelsea Billiards, which is a 24-hour pool hall. He would sleep under the table. I mean, a lot of guys did that. There's a few guys did that. And they would hustle. They'd have one guy that got arrested there would run a 3-card monte. I mean, it was like they had the shell game that they would run. I mean, everybody was figuring out a way to make money other than working a regular job. And they were all druggies. All of them. Everyone was a junkie. Almost everyone. The guys who weren't were the guys who were like straight. Ironically, want to hear this story? One of the guys who wasn't, who was on the straight and narrow. I won't say his name out of respect because he died recently, and he's a pretty famous player. He was Mr. Clean, man, and he always looked down upon everybody until he had a back injury. And the back injury, they put him on those fucking pills, and he was gone. He started smoking cigarettes. He started gaining weight. He became this pill popper. And my friend said the last time he saw him before he died young. the last time he saw him, he fell asleep in a fucking plate of food. Just punk, like in a movie. Plopped his face in the mashed potatoes, and mashed potatoes were stuck to his eyebrows and his nose. He just fell asleep from the heroin, from the pills, from the Oxycontins. Just plopped him. And this was a guy that, when my friend Johnny was a junkie, and when all these guys in the pool halls were junkie, this guy wouldn't even drink. He was a pro. I mean, he was well respected. He was in his 20s back then, and he was, top 15, top 30 in the country. He was a high level guy. And when you get to that level, like top 30 pool players in the country, on any given night, one guy can fucking hit a stride and beat anybody, And he was a good dude, man. That was a sad thing to see. I've seen a few guys like that were on the straight and narrow. There's nothing wrong with them, and then they got on those goddamn fucking pain pills. And for him, it was a back thing that's probably related to pool, because he didn't exercise, didn't lift weights, and keep you like. The thing about pool is you put a lot of stress on your head is up and your body's bent, and you're playing sometimes for 9 hours a day. It's not uncommon to play every day when you're a high level pool player. So your back is going through a lot of stress and pressure. And almost none of those guys did yoga. Almost none of those guys lift weights. And some of them would develop back problems. This fucking dude got a back problem. And then I think he actually even got in a car accident too. So he got more fucked up. And then he started with the pills.
It's amazing, the mind of the hustler. Because the other day, about 2 weeks ago, you got up early and you go, no matter what time I get up, Diaz is already on tour.
Yeah.
That's, if you dig the root of that mentality, that's the hustler mentality.
Every day I'm hustling. Every day I'm hustling.
When I wake up under that table at 6 o'clock, and I don't know how I got here, that was the truth. If I was to wake up on that couch tomorrow morning at 6 to pee, I wouldn't know how I got here. I'd wake up, there'd probably be some powder on the table, there'd be a little bit left, there'd be a half a beer, and you go to the bathroom, and then you come back, and you think about what happened last night, you look at your phone, and you go through your pockets, and you got $3, and you're fucking starving. And that's when the hustle starts, my friend. Right there is where it starts. You already got a guy that you go see to give you 2 eggs and bacon and a fucking piece of toast and put it on a tab till 5 o'clock. So you got till 5 o'clock to make it happen. You got to brush your teeth, comb your hair, and go to the pool or whatever the fuck, and there's something there. And you never know. It could be pool. Could be some guy who robbed a box off UPS and there were wrenches on there, and you got to go sell them. It's fucking mind-boggling. But I'll tell you how mind-boggling it was. When I moved to Colorado, when I first left that area in New Jersey in '83, I slept for 3 weeks straight. It wasn't the acclimation, because it was just my mind. The stress level went from here to here. I just fucking fell apart. That was it. The mind of a hustler is just a horrible.
It's a lot of grinding.
A lot of grinding, and there's no fucking yoga. You go, well, the guy didn't do yoga. Yeah, okay. Some guy sitting at 6 in the morning going, you know what I need? I need a little downward dog before I take somebody an 8-ball.
This guy who was one of the guys that used to go to the pool hall was this disgusting pervert. He was disgusting, and he played some pretty decent pool, but he was what they would call a scary ass. Like he would never make a bet unless he was absolutely sure he could win. So everyone was always trying to con everyone else. Like even the hustlers, they would try to hustle each other. They'd talk shit to each other. Bitch, I'll give you the 8, 9, and the break. Step the fuck up right now. I'll give you 2-1 on the money. And they'd make these crazy propositions with each other if they didn't get any action. And this one guy was like the most scary. He wouldn't play anybody unless he had just everything locked down. But he would play like regular people would come in off the street. He would try to get he looked like he was out of shape. He looked like a degenerate. He looked like he was falling apart. But he was a super fucking creepy pervert. And he would pay old ladies, like old homeless ladies, to jerk off in their face. He would give them like $5 or $10, and like the lady he was talking about, like she was saying, "I'm a grandmother. I can't believe you're doing this." He'd go, "Shut up," and he'd come in her face, and she's an old homeless lady, and I go, "You're jerking off in an old homeless lady's face." He's like, "I love it. I love it."
That
and
sounds
she's
like
crying.
Fun. It really
He
does.
was like saying she was
crazy.
crying while he was coming on her face. "I'm a grandmother," and he's
Listen, they all cry in the bathroom and they're washing that fucking goo off their face. They all cry in the
she's like a fucking 65, 70-year-old lady, and he's jerking off in her face, and she's homeless. A 65-year-old homeless lady, and he's coming in her face for $5.
You think about it. When somebody just comes in your face and you're in the bathroom washing it up, What are you thinking about your life? He really loves me? I mean, what the fuck are you thinking about?
Well, some girls like it.
Yeah,
some girls like it when you come in their face, but they're generally young. It's fun and it's wild. They're not 65-year-old homeless grandmas. When you really are getting off on jerking off on some poor starving old lady's face, like those are the type of people that you'll find, or you used to find, in New York. They don't have them anymore. They don't. I think they have a couple 24-hour joints in New York, but everything closes now. Everything has a closing time, whether it's 2 or 4. There was a bunch of pool halls, a bunch in Manhattan. When I was around, it was still nothing compared to the turn of the century. At the turn of the century, in 1900, there was 1,000 pool halls in New York City. 1,000 pool halls in New York City. That was the bachelor lifestyle. These guys, they didn't want to fucking... This was like during like the area of the Depression, like the 1920s especially. They didn't want to have to take care of a fucking family and a wife. It was hard enough just rough scrabble trying to feed yourself. Like, what, I want to have a fucking wife and a kid and have to go out there and figure out a way to feed them and have them fucking starving like I was starving when I was growing up? Like, so many people were starving like that they were scared. And this bachelor lifestyle kind of grew out of that. Also, it was fun. They were playing cards and shooting craps and getting arrested, and pool halls were automatically associated with derelicts and degenerates. In fact, the game pool, it's not even called pool. It's called pocket billiards. Pool is a term for throwing all your money in, pooling your money for games, because everybody would gamble, they would throw in. Like, you very rarely bet your own money. Like, guys would like, oh, who wants in on this? I could beat this motherfucker. Let's fucking make some money. And that's how these guys, they were, like, a lot of it, they were feeding off of each other. And they would 1,000 pool halls, so you're traveling all over the fucking city. And that was the bachelor lifestyle for these guys, that pool hall lifestyle. That's why I was always associated with the glorious results of a misspent youth. Like, everybody who was a good pool player, like, to this day, that's like that weird, it's a weird thing. Like, if a guy's good at badminton, guess what? Nobody gives a fuck. But if a chick walks into a pool hall and starts chalking up the queue and says, you guys want to bet some money on this? Like, oh shit, can she fucking play pool? Fuck, if this bitch beats me at pool, that's like she's stealing your manhood. A chick can beat you at Miss Pac-Man and nobody gives a fuck, okay? But if a chick breaks and runs out on you for $100, you're like, oh my god, I just lost a game of pool to a chick. Because it was a totally male bachelor lifestyle sort of a pastime for like the longest time. That's what I loved about it, man. When I first came to New York, and I started playing in Boston. That's when I first started playing, but not seriously until I hurt my ACL. I tore my ACL in my knee, and I didn't have insurance yet. So I had to wait a while and then fake an injury and then get my insurance. And I had to wait until after it set in, allegedly. This is all fiction. Anyway, I started playing pool with my friend John, who's a stand-up comic. John Tobin, he's a radio personality now in New York. And we started playing pool at this place called Executive Billiards. And then I met the owner there. And then I didn't know how to play at all. I was just learning. And then I met Johnny. He was trying to hustle me. That's how I met him. I was like, who's this motherfucker trying to pretend he doesn't know how to play pool? Like, we were laughing, like, while he was trying to talk me into a game. I go, I'm not good. Like, he goes, don't worry about it. We can figure out a way to make a game. I go, what does that mean, make a game? What does that mean? And he goes, we'll figure out a way to make it even. I go, there's no even. I go, you're good and I'm not good. So how's it ever going to be even? And he starts laughing. We're laughing. But I got to see these guys that were all just hanging out there all the time. They would get off work and they would rush over there. There was Deli Steve. They would call him Deli Steve because he worked at the deli. There was Ray the fireman. Ray the fireman, they would do 24-hour shifts at the fireplace. Right. So he would do his 24-hour shifts. He'd cook over there, hang out with the guys, and then he would come in. And when the shifts were over, he'd come into the pool hall. He'd hang out. You could show up at Executive Billiards and knock on the door at 4 o'clock in the morning, and if the lights were on, there was guys in there gambling. They just locked the door. After closing time, we'd stay open till dawn. Then we'd go to Star Diner and have fucking breakfast. I mean, it was fun. It was all fun. So when I had this girlfriend, I had a serious girlfriend for a while. One time she said, she gave me an ultimatum. She's like, it's either me or pool. I go, rack 'em up.
It's over.
That's what I said. I said, rack 'em up. I go, that place is fun. Nobody complains. I'm like, yeah, you're pretty and you're fun to be around and you're nice and I like having sex with you. All those things are true, but you're not taking me away from the pool hall. The pool hall was fun. It was all men. Like, you would go there and everyone was laughing. The place would be thick with cigarette smoke. I didn't give a shit. You'd go in there and everybody would be like, hey, remember when blah, 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 and rah? It was just a bunch of animals. They didn't have to show up with a suit and tie on. They didn't have to be stuck in a fucking cubicle. They didn't have to follow the rules that human resource set up for the company. They got to be themselves. They got to be themselves in a world that doesn't let you be yourself. In a world that doesn't let you swear. A world that doesn't want you on pills. You could buy pills from everybody. There was this guy, Jeff, I had my knee operated on, so they gave me Percocets. I took one. I was like, fuck these things. They're terrible. I sold them to Jeff, and Jeff was selling them in the pool hall. You could get anything in that place. This is the first time I ever saw a guy do heroin. First time I ever saw a guy do heroin. This guy, I used to call him Water Dog. His name was, he had a bunch of nicknames. Water Dog, Buffalo Bill. He had a couple different nicknames. I don't even remember his real name. But he would go into the bathroom and shoot up, and they would come out and just sit on a stool like this for 30 minutes. Just sit there, like, with his mouth open, his hands down, and then screw his cue together, step over to the table, and couldn't fucking miss. There was a trick table. They had this table, table one, and it was what's called double shimmed, which means like a regular table's 5-inch pockets, a gold crown is 5 inches. This table was under 4 inches. It's a tiny little hole, and it was a trick table in that, like, the guy who did the shim job was a shitty fucking table mechanic. So if you hit the point at all coming in, it would literally bounce the ball out of the hole. You had to hit it perfectly to get it in there. And he's firing balls into this table. He couldn't miss. The heroin had completely removed his nerves, and he would say that he just saw the table different. He would just see the table
different. Takes your inhibitions. Like when I said, when you get really high the night before and you go do something. Takes your inhibitions away. You don't even think about what you think about before.
And he was playing for big money too.
Yeah.
He was playing for like $10,000 once. He was playing this guy, and it was huge. Like, everybody came from all over the place. Guys drove up from Connecticut to see this match, and the guy was so fucking mad because he had went into the bathroom and did his junk, and he came back out, sat down for 30 minutes, and then couldn't miss, just running out on him, and then screaming at each other. And the guy, the heroin guy, Buffalo Bill. The dude's screaming at him. This guy, George the Greek, screaming at him. And he's just looking at George like this. Nothing. Didn't register. Didn't register that he was in danger. Didn't register that he should scream back. He's like, are we playing? Are we going to keep playing? Like, he's like, is this over? I guess this is over. He starts unscrewing his screw. Oh, fuck you, you fucking got no heart. Get back on that fucking table. And he'd get back on the table and he wouldn't miss again for 5 hours. I saw, like, world-class pool from a guy that had just, for 30 minutes, sat there like this.
It really is fucking amazing.
The place was glorious, man. I really need to write a book about the glory days of executive billiards, because it's like a disco now. They have a Facebook page. You go to the Facebook page. It's in White Plains, New York. The Facebook page, it's like girls twerking and the music playing and lights are flashing. I'm like, what is this? This was like a great pool hall.
I still can't get over the balls it would take to go to like a 70-year-old grandma who's homeless.
They jerk
and
off
say,
in
"Let me
face.
come in your face."
Oh, he was a dirty person.
Oh my god!
This guy was such a dirtbag. And he was essentially homeless too. They would either be homeless or they would get these. They would rent beds in these flop houses. Like they would. It was like a place where, like, they had little tiny rooms and they had a bed, and you'd all share like a group toilet. So you wouldn't really be homeless, but you might as. You just had a place to sleep and then get the fuck out of there. There's no kitchen.
Because all your money went to pool?
Well, most of it was junk.
Oh,
most of them were junkies. There wasn't see, their money didn't really go to pool. Like that wasn't like if they would play. A lot of times, like, they could get some free table time from some of the rooms. If they knew guys, they could play for the time, like for practice, and there was like cheap practice time. It wasn't that expensive to play pool. It was the money was all going to drugs. That was where like the big, like, if Johnny scored. If he scored, he would vanish. And sometimes you didn't know if you were going to see him again, because he would go to like the sketchiest parts of Spanish Harlem to score blow or score crack, and then towards the end it became heroin. And when it became heroin, that's when he came to visit me once. He came to visit me once when I was doing news radio. it was like one of the last times I got a chance to see him, and he was detoxing. He came out, his idea was he was going to come out and visit me, and when he was out, he was going to stay with me for like a week, and he would just clean up during that time. But he was just, every day, it was like he had the flu, just shaking, lying in bed, and just, by the time like 6-7 days, he was himself again. But it was just the saddest fucking thing to see, this guy just trying to kick it. It was just in his bloodstream.
Yeah, no, it's that and those fucking pills too. My friend just detoxed on the pills. Same thing.
It's the same exact thing. It's the same exact thing. It's the same exact mechanism. It's the same exact drug. It's an opiate. They're the hardest to kick.
After the surgery, I think I took 6 of those things.
Did you worry about taking them?
Nah, you know my fucking tolerance.
Yeah.
Even my tolerance was garbage.
But did you worry that you would, like, somehow or another decide that, like, you would start doing drugs again? Like,
No.
Not just...
No.
You're in a different place in your life now. Yeah, you know what? You've also... The thing that I've noticed about you over the last couple of years that's really changed in the last, like, 3 or 4 years, it's really from when you started doing podcasts and people got a chance to see the real you. And then once people saw the real you would go on stage. Like, we started doing shows, and you would go on stage, and people would go fucking crazy. They would start cheering. And it was a different thing. It was like they knew you now. So you could just be yourself. And the amount of love that you would get so much love everywhere we went. I saw it, like, changing your perceptions of yourself. You know, I saw it. Because, like, we would do shows way back in the day, where, you know, they didn't know who you were, and you would go on stage, and those days I didn't even bring you up. I didn't, like, do the mic on the side, like the DJ would do it or whatever.
Yeah.
And you had to fight for your life. These fucking people are not there to see you; they're there to see me. You gotta, and it's just, you know, it's tricky. That's a tricky thing sometimes.
This podcast has changed me.
Oh, of course, yeah.
The podcast that we do has changed me because I got to live up to what the fuck I'm talking about. I can't talk about picking up a piece of paper and I'm not picking it up. I can't talk about you got to go outside your comfort zone. I joined jiu-jitsu. I joined jiu-jitsu to show people that you could do whatever the fuck you want. They can't say no to you. And I go every day as hard as it is, and people hit me up every day and go, bro, thank you for talking me into going down to jiu-jitsu. You know, the drugs, I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't even.
Yeah, because you're in a positive place. You're on a good path.
No, but if you know anything about me, when I say it's over, it's over.
Yeah.
When I did that last line of blow that night, that was it for me. That was it. That was a big hurdle. And every day that I got off it, it made me stronger, and it made me fucking go, I don't want to do that no more. I didn't want to be there no more. And it's a shame. It was a big time period of my life, you know. But now I'm trying to, you know, redeem it. And I'm just trying to, you know, when I do this podcast, whether it's you or with Lee, and I talk the shit I talk, I got to walk it now. I just can't talk shit no more. I'm liable now for my words.
Yeah,
I opened myself up, but at the same time, I'm letting people know, you know what, I'm an ex-felon. I didn't go to fucking, I didn't have fancy parents. I didn't come out here with a credit card. You do what the fuck you want. You know, you could keep thinking about it or strap your balls on and go for it. That's it. You did it. Lee had to do it. I had to do it. I was talking to somebody today that said they went back to Connecticut for a week to see their parents, their family, and they couldn't believe how different they were from that. He's only been here for 4 years. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. And he goes, I can't believe how different they are. Remember I told you that every time you go home, you go there less and less.
Yeah.
You go home now, you're going, I'm not going to Boston for no fucking 10 days. I can't go to Jersey for no 10 days. You go less and less because you see more. And he was telling me how he can't believe that nobody in his family has ever been out of the county. Never mind the state. The fucking county.
That's
you know,
crazy.
they all live 6 miles from the family. When the father, they go to the house and they can't talk. It's like E.F. Hutton. They watch sports and nobody talks to themselves. They don't talk until the father asks a question, then they all answer, and then it goes to silence. He goes, forget the dinner table. They don't laugh at the dinner table. He goes, I don't even know I was raised in that fucking house. But you need to step out of things to see them. And the more you're out of them, you keep seeing them and seeing them. Very funny. Last week, somebody sent me the Thiago Silva tape. You know how many nights I walked around cocaine with a gun in my hand? What do you think, he's special? That's what you do. You think Thiago Silva is
Well, he was
special?
looking for a guy, too, and he was over her house.
I was looking for cops. and shoes under beds.
Shoes under beds.
Picking up things behind the flag. You know, when I go into a hotel room in the old days, first thing I did was shake down the room. Look at cabinets. Before I did the coke in the hotel room at night, I would open up the wine cabinets and the soda machine and make sure there's no cameras in the fucking room. You know, that's your paranoia mind. That's the cocaine working. So when I saw that fucking tape, my stomach went into a knot. You know how many knots I would do a line of coke and walk around the room with the fucking razor blade and the mirror right here and the gun and the other thing. Come out, I'll fucking shoot you. Come out, you motherfucker. You know how scary that is? And people would say, what are you doing? Nothing. You're just looking out a fucking window. Joey, what? Shh. Joey, what's going on? Nothing. I thought I saw a fire down the corner. And you go back and you do it. And when you walk to the table to do a line, you walk backwards. So the whole time you got your eye on that thing. I remember one time I was just doing coke for years. And my friends came out to visit me in Boulder, Colorado. And I was on fucking federal probation. They would come to my house and piss me, and I wouldn't open the door. The one day I didn't open the door, I told this motherfucker, I ain't going down there. You know, I didn't tell him that. I just hid upstairs, and he kept saying, I know you're in there. And I didn't. And then that night, I never forget, I went to a hotel with these guys. And the hotel, they started playing cards, and they're like, you bring the pipe? He asked the other guy, and I'm like, pipe? You guys smoking weed? I'm like, nah, dog, crack. And I'm like, wait a second. And I never smoked crack. I'm like, crack, like Harlem crack, like that. Like, you know, black people jumping up and down with a pipe. And they're like, yeah, that type of crack. I'm like, oh, fuck it, give me a hit. Dog, I did a hit, and I was in the shower behind the curtain. Like, it was horrible. Like, they were laughing. Like, come on. I'm like, no, there's somebody on top of that roof. He's a fucking sniper. You know, when I saw that Diablo Silver tape, it disturbed me so much. My heart goes out to him. Yeah. I couldn't judge it because I've been there.
Well, what's crazy is he got reinstated in the UFC.
And they got launched.
And then they found this tape.
And, you know, again, I don't give a fuck.
The fucking ex-wife sent the tape in. She's like, there's something you might want to take a look at.
Yeah, but, you know, I mean, this bitch seems like she was a crazy motherfucker. And obviously, that's the worst. When I'm telling you I know something and you're telling me you're crazy, and all of a sudden she hooks up with Popovich in fucking Saudi Arabia. So, you know what I'm saying, dog? He wasn't that fucking crazy. He was going to her house with a gun because he knew that bitch was a dirty bitch. Okay? That's what he was doing, with a fucking gun. Nobody goes to fucking home to Mrs. Rogan with a gun and walks around the house. Or to your girlfriend and walks around the house. What are you looking for?
I don't know if they were split up. I think they might have been already split up when this was going on. I think he was just coked up and being crazy. I don't think he was with her.
Oh, my God. He was wiping his nose.
Yeah, he was jacked. Did you hear what happened to Vanderlei? He got suspended for life.
For life.
No, he's like barred from fighting for life.
He's not even allowed in Las Vegas. Like
prohibited.
They
banned him from Las Vegas?
He lives in Las Vegas.
I don't know what happened. I'm just goofing.
He's goofing. But
they gave him a $75,000 fine for running, which he retired. Why is he going to pay him unless they put a judgment on his ass?
Well, I think they owned like a giant chunk. I mean, I don't know if he even got his purse.
What purse?
I mean, that's true. He didn't even have the fight.
No,
like
he didn't. Nothing.
But he had a fight scheduled. Like, so he didn't get any of it.
No.
So he wasn't even under contract yet. So the real question is, do they have the jurisdiction to actually test him since he wasn't under contract? He wasn't licensed, so he hadn't applied for a license yet. So although he had signed for a fight with Chael Sonnen, they signed, like they were set. He hadn't applied for his license yet. And until he applies for his license, they don't really technically have the jurisdiction to test him because he's not applying for a license. You can't just show up at my house and say, hey, I want to test your pee. Be like, wait, I don't even work for UPS yet. You know, like you can't, once he signs on, and so that's what his attorney's claiming, which is very interesting. I just think the penalty's way over the top. Like, it's one thing if you want to tell the guy he's suspended for a year. Like, pretend as if you caught him for steroids. You know, say it like you caught. What would you do if you caught him? If you got caught, it was the first time being caught, it would be 9 months suspension. So instead of doing that, they decide to prohibit him from fighting for a fucking life, a whole life. Like, he can't be 80 and apply for a license for running away from one drug test. I think That's ridiculous.
It was time to send the message. The fighters, a lot of fighters.
Yeah, but you can't do it
off.
like that. You're just sending a message that you have ultimate power and you're unreasonable. That's not reasonable. It's one thing if they said, hey, we're going to suspend it for 2 years. Like Chael Sonnen, he got suspended for 2 years, this last one. 2 years when I think Chael's 36, 37, somewhere around there. That's big. That's big. Those are 2 years when you're at the end of your prime anyway. I mean, you never even in you're in a weight class like a 185, 205-pound weight class. When you get to be like 35, 36, it's pretty much the tail end of your career. Heavyweights have a little bit longer. Like they generally mature later and can compete at a higher level later. Lighter weight guys like flyweights, their careers end even earlier than that. Like 35 is the high end for like a flyweight. But to take away a guy's 2 years is big. But to say you can never fight again ever because you ran a test. He ran from a test. He fucked up. He definitely fucked up. But you can't set. That's so unprecedented. And it's so crazy. I mean, if they said they were going to suspend him for 2 years, man, that's harsh as shit. But
it's been a bad month for sports, bro.
Yeah, it has.
And it's been a bad month for sports, and you know what?
Yeah, but there's a big difference between a guy running from a drug test and a guy beating the fuck out of his kid with a stick or knocking his girlfriend out in an elevator. Like, those are different things. That's like some evil shit. What a lot is going on, and this is what nobody likes to talk about, but a lot is going on is that these guys have been juking the system for a long time. There's a bunch of them that have been juking the system when it comes to performance-enhancing drugs. And Chael was the tip of the iceberg. And when he got popped, it sent a real message to everybody. Like, they're testing everything now. And then a lot of other guys got popped. Bagutinov got popped for EPO. A lot of guys are getting popped left and right. King Kevin Casey, he got popped for steroids after his fight. They got rid of him. You know, there's a lot of guys that are getting popped left and right. And what we're finding out is that a lot of these folks would get clean like right before a fight. But in between fights, if you just catch them, just show up at their house and go, come here, man, penis cut for me real quick. I need some of your blood. There's a good percentage of them that are hot.
Can you believe Vandal, what's his name right now? He must be fucking happy as fuck, Vito. He's probably taking a plane to China with a mask on, shooting shit. He don't give a fuck. He's like, this is the best day of my fucking life. I caught a breather.
Well, that's a terrible situation because he's like 36, 37 years old, and he was on testosterone for the last few years. So his natural testosterone is completely dropped down to a very, very low level. And he's got to figure out how to fire that back up. It's actually very good for him that the fight is in February as opposed to closer to the time when they made him get off the testosterone, because it gives his body more time to fire up. And if he can go back to Brazil, perhaps he can engage in certain activities that could perhaps benefit him to re-engage his testosterone system. See, that's the other thing. They don't let these guys take drugs that bodybuilders take when they get off steroids that have been proven to restart your system. Like, I don't even think it would be it's not like a performance-enhancing drug effect. It's a normalcy effect. There's like stuff called Clomid, and these things are what they call estrogen suppressors. So it suppresses the level of estrogen you have, which raises the level of testosterone, apparently, in some way. I don't understand the mechanism. But a lot of bodybuilders, when they get off of steroids, they will take this stuff. And this is one of the things that Chael was on. Because they made him get off the fucking testosterone. The guy was on testosterone for years. You make him get off of it, and all of a sudden they feel like shit. They're tired. They can barely get through a workout. They don't have any pep in their step. They got no pop. Their dick doesn't work. And the only way to get your system fired back up again is to either wait time, do a lot of like high-intensity exercises, try to kick it back in. And for everybody, the amount of time it takes to kick it back in is different. So for Vitor to get it a few extra months, like what is it now? We're in September. They're doing it in what? February? Is that what they said?
Something like
that. What it is? So think about that. He's got October, November, December, January, and then in February. So he's got another 5 months. That's good for him.
No, but the fight was when? Next week?
December.
Yeah, so he only got 2 months more.
Yeah, he got 2 months more, but he's got 5 months from now.
Right.
From now, he's got enough time to like give his body like another.
Yeah, he's on a fucking plane like this right now, rubbing that fucking juice. It's like me with an 8-ball in my pocket when I get on stage.
They want to clean that sport up, man. They want to clean that sport up, and that's the way to do it. The way to clean it up is to randomize the drug testing and to do like the most stringent level of testing that's imaginable, and that's what they're doing right now. Each test costs $40,000. Every time they test these guys, it costs $40,000. It's super expensive, and it's coming out of the UFC's pocket. And they're doing it because, look, they can't keep running into these situations where guys get popped hot at these athletic commission tests because it makes the sport look terrible and it devalues the brand. If you have a sport and all of your top champions are all on steroids and everybody knows they're on steroids, in a lot of people's eyes, it devalues the sport. And it can if guys keep getting caught and they keep testing positive and it remains a trend for a long period of time, you don't set a new standard and let everybody know, like, look, this is what it is. You guys can't be on drugs. If you're on drugs, they're going to ban you. They're going to kick you off the fucking sport. They're going to make sure that you lose a significant percentage of your purse. Then they're going to ban you for a year where you can't make a living doing your sport for like a fucking year. So stop it. If they didn't do that, it becomes a mockery. And if it becomes a mockery, it actually devalues the sport in a lot of people's eyes, and it could be detrimental to like the bottom line of a business. And that's the difference between like guys like Lorenzo Fertitta. He runs casinos. They know how to make money. They know where money is not being made correct, and they know it's like playing a game of poker. Like, you know what your hand is, and you know most likely what his hand is. You have an idea, and you know, like, this is not going to work out well unless we do something here. Like, I'm going to fold, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until I have a good hand, and then I'm going to bet. Like, you're playing in advance. You're looking at the future, and if they're looking at the future, they go, okay, let's look what's going on here. These guys keep getting caught, and when they get caught, a lot of these guys are saying everyone's on it. A lot of these guys are saying, Vitor said that. He's like 90% of these guys use when they're in camp. That's what Vitor said. He would know better than any of us. So if Vitor's saying something like that, he's not known as a liar. If he's saying something like that, you got to think there might be something to it. And if you want to nip that shit in the bud, there's only one fucking way. You got to randomly test these dudes. You got to show up, knock, knock, hi, guess where we are? We're the guy who wants your blood, and we're going to have a chain of custody of this blood and take it on a fucking plane to Baltimore where there's some super secret national security agency lab that doesn't fuck anything up, and we're going to test everything that you have in your blood. We're going to find out if you have artificial testosterone. We're going to find out if you're taking human growth hormone, if you're on EPO, if you're on birth control pills, whatever the fuck you're on. We're going to find out what you're on. We're going to know exactly what you're all about. And so that's a giant wake-up call to all these fighters. And we might have to reevaluate like what guys are capable of. You know, it's one of the things that Dolce said. I had him on the podcast the other day. We were talking about this. That I think that we have an elevated expectation of what guys can do, and a lot of it is based on like the juiced up days. You know, like the juiced up days of Pride. Like they were juiced to the tits. Like Vanderlei Silva in his prime was, you know, he was just a muscle, a giant veiny muscle of destruction. Just smashing guys, knees and fucking kicks and soccer kicks and stomps. He headbutted Guy Metzger. Fucking headbutted him before he knocked him out. He hit him with a combination, headbutted him, and then right-handed him and knocked him out. I mean, he had fought, knocked him out. He had fought all these Vale Tudo fights. In a lot of those fights, Vale Tudo is anything goes. That's what it means.
Goes, yeah.
He fought those bare-knuckle fights in Brazil where the headbutts were legal. So there's many videos of him headbutting guys, standing up, just fucking cracking them with headbutts. So when he fought Guy Metzger, like the headbutt just came in handy. Like, oh, I know how to do this. Bank, crack. Just crazy fights. And who knows what kind of chemicals those guys were on.
Look at the chemicals Lee's on. Look at the
what kind of chemicals, you know?
Whatever brownie he gave me.
Jesus Christ, you could barely see.
I know.
Oh my God.
Look at his eyes.
He's going deep.
Oh my God.
He gave me like six. This is what made Tom Segura take a Uber home.
This is
and he gave me like double what he had.
This is like your eyes are like a caricature.
I know.
Like you're squeezing them shut. This is like you're playing a character. This is the high guy who can't see.
No, those brownies are.
No, he ain't fucking around. He gets fucked up. I take him out later.
These aren't fucking around either, man. These peanut
now,
butter
you know,
brittles.
those guys, I told the story on your
Gummy bear guys?
I connected with these guys because of your podcast.
Oh.
You know how?
How?
dead cousin is the story I told, the guy that was throwing the bales of coke off the plane. So I told the story. They came to Flappers. In fact, I'm going to see him. I'm going to see Tweety.
That's hilarious.
Thursday. The guy who threw the bales off the fucking plane, they gave him 50 years.
Who is coming up with the fucking contest at Flappers? Did you see this latest contest about doing dead comedians' acts on Halloween? They're doing a show, a special show, where they do a tribute, where different comedians will do dead comedians' acts on Halloween.
Leave those fucking Christians alone.
Are they out of their mind?
They're Christians. That's what really pisses me off about them. They're thieves. That's what really pisses me
They're
off.
thieves?
Yeah, they want to give you 50% of the door and then give away tickets and not advertise.
Well, they're probably starving. They're probably barely staying open.
No, 4 years they've done okay. They got
tough times, man.
They've got fucking 20 comedy shows going tonight in there.
Do they?
Go look at their webpage. Go ahead.
How much do they paper in the room, though? They're just getting all the liquor?
I don't know. I don't know what they're papering, but I know that they're doing something right over there because they kept open for 4 fucking years.
I keep wanting to go there, but Bob at the fucking Ice House is such a sweetheart.
Yeah,
I love that guy so much.
There's no reason to go
I just do that show.
I used to go there and do sets, and it's this is why I had to go back to the store, because it was I could walk on the stage like I just read a magazine and talk about it. And those people were starved for comedy. So if somebody had 3 jokes, they kill. They're like stars.
Yeah.
You got to be pushed when you do comedy. It's the same. Your training partner's got to push you. Let me
Yeah.
give a fucking talk about these sponsors here. Don't forget, I'm doing Gotham this weekend, Friday and Saturday at midnight. If you want to win free tickets, go to joeydiaz.net, to hit86.com. All right, what they tell you to say, 1,200 hits, more vapor.
Yeah, it's better tasting, longer. They have cigars and cigarettes. They have flavors for the cigarettes, different levels of nicotine. It's awesome. So
what's the name of the company again?
Hit86.com.
This is a very good product.
Tremendous.
This cigar is very good.
I'm telling you.
It tastes good. It tastes like a real cigar.
When they mail me this, I've always used these at the house. And when I drink coffee, when I get back from doing comedy, I like a cigar. I just didn't like the drama of going through it. So if you don't like the fucking drama going through it either, go to hit86.com and press
Joey's Church.
Boom! And get 20% off your order. They deliver fucking anywhere. Knock yourself out. Come to the show on Friday or Saturday. They'll be there giving out samples, shaking hands, blowing smoke.
They're going to be there giving out samples?
Yeah, they're good people. Nice fucking people.
That's smart.
MeUndies.com. How long have you had those undies on for? Fucking 3 days, you nasty motherfucker. Most people have their underwear for 7 years, you filthy fucking animals.
Isn't that a crazy
You probably go to Starbucks with that munion on your head and order coffee with that horse breath in the morning, especially you fucking women. You know what your asshole smells like after it ferments all night? Go to MeUndies.com right now. They ain't fucking around here, okay? For example, I got mine on right now. They feel fucking tremendous. Me and Joe were talking about how comfortable they are, how they don't let your balls sweat. I had them on for 24 hours without a shower. I went to take a whiff of my nutsack the next morning. There was no perspiration. Whatever they have in that material takes it out of your fucking nutsack and your asshole.
Amazing.
So you can sling dick in the morning with confidence. Let me tell you something. If you can't sling dick in the morning with confidence, when the fuck are you going to sling dick?
With confidence is the
That's
best
right.
part.
Go to MeUndies right now. You look great. Check out the pics and the different styles they got for men and women. Go to MeUndies.com right now and press what in?
Joey.
Oh, shit! And get 20% off. And guess what? They deliver to the United States, fucking Canada, Mars, whatever the fuck you need. Go to MeUndies right now. But better yet, go, mention us and get 20% off.
And they get free shipping in U.S. and Canada right now.
Free shipping in the U.S. and Canada. So I fucking said, where you been, cocksucker?
No, you said they ship there. And it was free now.
Whatever.
The Jew brings the free in.
Let me tell you something. The salt and pepper lima beans from fucking Nature Box. Has anybody had those?
No, I had other crunchy
The
stuff.
sriracha fucking cashews?
Did you have the jalapeno cashews?
No.
They're new.
Oh my God, how good are they?
Good. They're very good.
Delicious. They don't fuck around.
A mild jalapeno. It's like a taste. You get the taste of the jalapeno. It's not like stupid spicy where it hurts you to eat them. It's good.
They also sent me the Kung Pao pretzels. They sent me the raspberry, whatever bars, delicious. The baby loves them.
Did you get the dark cocoa nom noms?
Oh my God, I got the nom noms. They went in one sitting.
Peanut butter nom noms too.
I didn't
Done.
get the
See
peanut
ya.
butter nom noms. Did you eat those
Oh
yet?
yeah, done. That
Listen,
I steal.
This is professional. The professional fucking stoners telling you, and these snacks are nutritious, delicious. You don't got a system. They got 0 trans fat, no artificial ingredients, and they also have gluten-free products. Go to fucking naturebox.com, and what are they pressing the box?
Joey.
And you're gonna get a free. I said it before, nothing is free but Jesus. But NatureBox fucking beat me to it. You're gonna get a free box shipped to your house. So good for you. Here you go. Start your free. Go to naturebox.com/Joey. Stay full, stay strong, do what you want to do, start snacking smarter. Go to naturebox.com/Joey and get your free sample box of direct sampler box. Those fucking peanut butter bread will fuck me up.
This is strong.
I get it. You get 4 bags. You get a lot of free stuff.
Yeah, no,
and they don't charge you for shipping.
Guys, go to naturebox.com, press in /Joey, or /Joey, and get your free box sent right to the fucking house. They don't fuck around. And last but not least, my people on it.com. I'm on that fucking strong bone right now. My knees looking better. You checking out Joe Rogan? Not bad, brother. Look at those fucking holes.
Yeah, I recognize those little scars.
Now, what's in there? Is that stitches under the skin?
No, they pulled the stitches out, or they have stitches that dissolve. Most of the time, they remove the stitches. Did they remove your stitches?
They removed them
3
days later.
That's it.
But they fucking, when I get on my hands and knees to do a child's pose, it's still not fucking.
Oh yeah, it's scar tissue. Okay. It's actually good to feel that pain.
Okay,
when you have an injury like that, you gotta break down that scar tissue.
Yeah,
roll
that's what
around
I've been doing. That's why I had to go to jiu-jitsu today. So we're not fucking around. Also, with on it, they got the new formula for the T+, 36% more strength. We still got Alpha Brain, gives you more focus and more clarity. You still got fucking the Caveman coffee. They don't fuck around. They got the new Legend belt, 28 keys, right? 28.
Yeah, 62 pounds is a werewolf.
A fucking werewolf that weighs 62 pounds. You understand me? I met a chick that's pussy was a werewolf one fucking time. Had a lot of hair. It breathed hot air on me and shit. And last but not least, go to honor.com and press
Church,
CHURCH. Get 10% off your first order, but also look on the Stay On It program. It works like Dollar Shave Club and all the other companies we work with. They mail it right to your house. You don't have to start every month. Go to honor.com. Just fucking go to Stay On It. Get the 10% off, the additional 10% once you mention Joey. Also to my brothers, Church. Also to my brothers, Los Gummies Hermanos over at naileditlife.com. They're great guys. They got
What's the website?
Naileditlife.com.
Naileditlive.com?
Naileditlife.com.
Nailed It Life?
Yes.
Like NAILED IT Life.com. Okay.
That easy. No drama.
Naileditlife.com.
They got the best vape
what a
pen
weird
in the
name
market.
For a fucking website.
Yeah.
Isn't it for like taking dabs?
For taking dabs. Nailed It Life. They're dabbers. They're professional fucking dabbers.
Those guys, they go so deep.
They go deep.
They do it driving from the allegedly from Northern California down with
allegedly.
a torch.
They fucking do. They showed up at the house with a briefcase. Remember at the other office, they showed up with a fucking briefcase.
Yeah, he had a sack like Santa Claus. And he reaches in and he's just handing gummy bears out to the children and
the whole
elves.
fucking staff was fucked up at the Comedy Central taping. Everybody was eating those.
Well, those gummy bears are even worse than the Green Hornets, which are pretty bad.
Those gummy bears.
The gummy bears are death. They're hot death.
I got one for the trip tomorrow. I'm gonna eat the whole fucking thing.
Oh no, you're not.
At 6 a.m. in the morning.
You eat a whole one of those?
The whole big gummy bear, the 250. Fuck yeah.
That's insane.
I get high for 2 hours.
250 milligrams of THC for people who don't know. A regular, really strong one has 70. Really strong. Really strong. Like, I wouldn't recommend that. I would say take a half or even a quarter of a 70.
Let me tell you something. But here's the most fucked up thing, guys. We eat the Chiba Chews.
Yeah.
We eat all Chiba Chews. We eat everything.
What's a Chiba Chew got in it?
A Chiba Chew, the big one's got 180, little one's got 70, and the Green Hornet got 70.
So think of that.
I'm gonna tell you
70.
It goes back like Tic Tacs.
But you go from that to 240.
I'm gonna tell you something. And this
what is that?
Fucks everything up.
Oh my god.
What is that?
This is called a So Kind brownie. They make cookies and brownies. These are 3 brownies divided by 3. It's 200 milligrams in the bag. It's 66 milligrams of THC each one. I just gave Lee 50. This is stronger than anything you'll eat in the business.
Really?
This is the one that kills. I mean, people's eyes get red, their faces get swollen. They got to pull over. This is the one. This is the one. There ain't nothing. I can lie to you here. The Chiba Chews are great, but they're 180 milligrams. I don't know how these people do it. I like to test their shit. This takes you deep. And when he goes home in 2 hours, how deeper will you be when I call you?
Oh my god.
Deep. This is deep. And I asked the people what is going on. They say they make it with the original butter. The that they went back to old school. Everybody's doing something else. They're doing the butter. I love the 250 milligram gummy. It's delicious. The cherry ones, I'll fucking get fucked up and put that iPod on the plane and take my little computer out and I'll get fucking wasted on that flight. But there's nothing like these little 60 milligrams. I don't know why.
I didn't like getting high that one time on the plane to Austin. I don't
didn't
really
like it, Daddy.
No, it was terrible. I don't get really nervous when I'm high, but I was paranoid on that flight.
You got no choice. When we get on the plane,
you're on a plane, man.
We gotta get. What
are you gonna do? You gonna be sober?
I know. You gotta
3 hours.
That was terrifying.
Jumping up and down.
There's no reason to be sober on a flight ever. It's just a waste of a flight, unless you have a really important book you have to read.
But we took it before we got on the plane, and then there was a bus to the plane, so I was flying by the time I got to the
when you go to
seat.
Austin, you got that bus to the fuck. When you go to Utah or fucking Austin, you got that fucking bus. So once you land cross country on a fucking plane, then they drop you off. Then you got to jump on a bus and walk back to fucking American Airlines.
I tell you what, that was a city and a club that I was really impressed with. Was that Wise Guys in Utah. Wise Guys in Salt Lake City.
I told
that
you.
Is a great fucking club, and that is a great fucking town. Those people were cool as shit. And it was, you had told me that, and a bunch of other guys had told me that, but I had my apprehensions. I was like, come on, it's Salt Lake City. They're all uptight. Like, that's the Mormon place. They are so fucking sick of the Mormons.
For me, it wasn't even about killing. You know what it was for me? You know when I fell in love with them? When people would pull me aside and they go, thank you. And I look at them and go, for what? And they go, just thank you. Thank you. Nobody comes here. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Thank you, bro.
Well,
when somebody looks me in the eye and does that to me, that means the world to me. Like, thank you, bro. Thank you for fucking coming here. For some people don't want to come here. Then whatever. You know, I love, if there's a microphone and a fucking brick wall, you know, Joe Rogan, I'm sick and tired of people talking about comedy club. Like now, Irvine is so beautiful. You know what, bro? I lost that shit about 10 years ago. When I walk into a club, they all look the same to me. And they all sound the same to me. And the sound system doesn't impress me. And the painting on the mural. And the copper bell. Nothing impresses me. The laughter impresses me. And all I want is, the more shit a comedy club has now, I don't want to go there.
Well, Wise Guys is perfect.
Perfect for me.
It's got a little green room.
Perfect, yeah. I don't want to see nothing no more.
Stage is small.
I don't want to hear about oh my God, well the sound. You could listen. Tell you go suck my dick. There's a fuck. The only people who complain about sound are people who aren't funny.
Right.
Okay? That's the only people who complain.
You remember that one time
there
we
was
were in
something
Vegas?
wrong with the microphone. I know.
The people couldn't hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I don't like that excuse.
We were in Vegas and this guy was bombing and we were like, oh my God, this poor fuck, this is terrible. And he comes off stage, the first thing he's saying is like, they couldn't hear me. This microphone is shit. We were in the back of the room, we're like, we fucking heard you loud and clear, dude.
First thing people say when they bomb is the sound, or they were
was
old, or they were, and I stopped that shit about 15 years ago. That's when I started growing as a comic. Listen, forget the sound, forget the lights.
You ate a dick.
I've been at the Comedy Store when I got up there, it's black, and the microphone's broken, and you're up there yelling from the top of your lungs, and they're laughing.
Well, you hear what happened to Heffron once? He was in the middle of the show, and the fucking power went out. And so they had candles all over the tables. You know, it was one of those. It was an improv. You know, they do that improv. He took a fucking candle, held it up to his face, and talked really loud. And just kept going. Just did the fucking show, holding onto a candle, yelling really loud, like projecting like he's a Shakespearean actor. And I go, how was it? He goes, killed.
It's the best feeling in the world. Your voice is the strongest weapon that you have, and you don't know it.
Well, it's also the audience gets a chance to see something unique.
Yeah,
like they know that you're forced into the situation.
And they love it that you adapted. They love that you adapted. They love it. Where are you going next, my brother?
This weekend I'm in Toronto. I'm doing the Sony Center.
So you fly up Friday, do the show, and then fly to Vegas on Saturday.
Yeah, and then Saturday morning I'm commentating on the UFC.
Okay, and then the week after that, where are you at?
Well, I'm on my reconstruction phase now because I just filmed my special. So right now it's all about writing and doing a lot of local spots. Like tomorrow night I'm doing Comedy Juice, and I'm trying to do, I'll probably wind up doing the Ha Ha next week maybe. I'm doing like those kind of gigs.
You coming to Long Beach with me on the 8th of October, Wednesday night?
If I'm home, no, I'm not home that night.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I can't do that day.
Okay,
but I'll do another one.
Yeah,
I definitely want to do Long Beach.
November. That's really becoming a fun place for me. And
I want to do Santa Barbara too. I know there's a little comedy club up in Santa Barbara. I did American Comedy Company down in San Diego. I'm having a good time.
I'm down in January. Yeah, I'm having a good time.
I'm having a good time doing clubs. Like I'm doing this Sony Center is going to be like 3,200 people. It's a big fucking place in Canada, and it's fun too. Canadians are so polite and they're so nice that even a big place you can get away with it. But there's something about those little places, man. There's something about the Ice House, like 190, when it's stuffed with people.
Everything.
Yeah, a lot of everything.
There's a lot of everything.
It's a big high population.
It's a pirate state. It's been fucking getting mauled on since God knows when.
Yeah.
You know Columbus was down there. I mean, it's just Jesus was down there. Everybody's been down there.
No state income tax.
Jackie Gleason was down there. It's just one of those places. And for me, and I'm not saying this in a negative way, anything above like West Palm Beach, I don't click. To me, it's very, it's very more little. It's in between Southern and something else. Like, I went to Jacksonville. Good. They didn't dig me. I went to that Mandarin Inn one time. That's all the seafood you could eat Friday night.
Oh, it's still good old boy.
Then
like
you ship
Ocala.
blood till Ocala. I've never really been to.
That's not your world.
Tampa,
sure.
Live Oak.
I didn't do good in Tampa. You know, it's
you really?
I was surprised about
I would think
a lot of Cubans in Tampa. Great fucking city. Great food. Just sensational food.
Yeah.
Just a great blend of food. A lot of New Yorkers with flavor. A lot of Cuban food. A lot of Latin fucking good cheeseburgers. But I think, like, the only city, I'm going to tell you something, guys. There's only been 2 cities in my life where I thought I was going to die. But I came close to dying.
Where's that?
One is Florida, Miami.
Yeah.
And the other one, I think, is Houston, Texas. One night.
That's a savage city,
That's a real
too.
motherfucking city.
Yeah,
right
Houston,
there.
Texas. Before or after the hurricane? After Katrina, Houston got real fucking wild.
Yeah, it got crazy.
It got real crazy.
What was Katrina?
2005, I think,
Yeah.
right?
No, this is 2003, 2002. I was going crazy on my own down there.
Yeah.
It was a great club, that Laugh Stop.
Oh, I used to love the Laugh Stop. I went there after. I went there after.
You were with Pete.
Yeah, I was there with
Pete.
Pete.
Was a great guy.
I loved Pete.
Pete had his little fucking problem. I love Pete. Pete just came to see me in Houston.
Are you serious?
I'm still tight with Pete. I'll talk to Pete once every 16 days. By the way, Danny Murr died.
Who?
Yeah, Dan Murr
Danny
died. Old Tempe Improv?
Old Tempe Improv.
Really?
What a
He
fucking
died.
shame, yeah.
How'd he die? I haven't heard.
No, nobody told me.
And do you know where?
In Chicago. It wasn't good, guys. He called me about a year and a half ago for a reference to try to get a manager's job at the Chicago Laugh Factory. That's the last time. He said he was living with his brother. He took the money the club gave him. They robbed him. He lost his condo.
Fuck, man.
It was like fucking A to Z. It was like he fucking did a lot of creepy things down there, man. Rest in peace, He was good to me.
Creepy things. Rest in peace.
Eulogy ever.
He did a lot of creepy things. It wasn't good. Rest in peace.
Yeah, he was a creepy
He
fuck.
was living with his brother.
If you
Poor guy.
said that at the memorial service, I would die.
He did a lot of creepy things. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. He was a real piece of shit. Rest in peace.
I never could tell if his hair was his. Rest in peace.
Dog, don't you ever go to a funeral and the guy's talking, like they give a memorial, in the back you hear you like, this is such a bullshit. Last time I saw this guy was doing blow off a stripper's ankle. And this kid, he's a loving father, sure. You should have seen him that night. How much he loved this kid when he had his tongue up that fucking yam's fucking asshole with coke on it. All those loving fathers, they always are the dirtiest motherfuckers in the world. Dirtiest motherfuckers in the world.
I went into the Tempe Improv one time, and Gary Valentine and a bunch of comics told me you got a party with Dan Murr, and I was like, okay. So I get there. I was when we used to tour with what's his name, and we get there and we sit down, and I say to Dan, "Hey, I'm not drinking tonight, but I want to get down. I want to party with you." And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, Gary and Kevin James, all these guys said you're really fun to party with. He goes, "Don't worry, it'll happen." I was like, "Yeah." It's like Friday night, Thursday night, Friday night. He's like, I'm not going to be able to do it tonight. We'll hit it tomorrow night. So Saturday night comes, I'm kind of like, not that I don't want to party with him, but I just don't. I don't really care
You're
to.
done,
I just said what I was supposed to say to be cool. Saturday night comes and I dodge out on it, and I don't see him. I leave. I'm like, thank God. I got to do one Sunday show, and I'm just gonna drive home. Sunday night, he corners me in the green room. He's like,
that's his night.
Tonight's your night, bro. And I was like, okay. So I was like, all right. So I put all my shit back in the condo, parked the car, and I was like, I'm going out partying with Dan. And we just went to that Shooters right down the street. Mm-hmm. Just went there and just sat down at the bar, and he just looked at me. He goes, so what do you think? I was like, what? And he's like, this is it, man. This is like, you're partying with me. And I was like, oh, fuck.
What?
Yeah, it was weird.
How long did you guys get really fucked up or no?
Yeah, no, we just had enough drinks where I couldn't drive back to L.A. And then he was just called it a night. And I was like, oh, fuck. So that was the last time I really... It's interesting to me how many people